Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world: movies, movie news, TV, streaming, staying up till 1 a.m. to watch Ms. Marvel, and then getting up early the next day. And joining us here today, also a little bit sleep deprived, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing?
John, doing good today. It's a fine day. Today's Wednesday, right?
Sounds right.
Yeah, today is Wednesday.
So it's surprise day.
So
if you're
it is-
a Mickey Mouse Club fan.
Is that what Wednesdays were?
Wednesday's surprise day.
That
Anything
sounds-
can happen, and it usually does.
That sounds like the setup for a horror film right there.
You know, I am
Surprise day. Anything can happen.
I think
and it usually does.
I think you just sold it. Why don't we make that movie?
What about Big Surprise Day?
Big Surprises Day. That's the movie that's got to get made. By the way, it is Wednesday. And two of our Wednesday regulars not here. Obviously, you guys know Chris Carr is out. She's recovering at home. She'll be back in a while. But Erin Cummings is normally here on Wednesdays, but she is, of course, off celebrating. I believe she's in Mexico on an anniversary trip with her husband,
Yes.
Tom. So she'll be gone this week, and she'll be gone next week as well, unfortunately. But she'll be back soon, don't you worry. But we are very happy that joining us today once again is Amy Newman. Amy, how you doing today?
Good. Not in Mexico. So a little pissed
Not
about
Mexico,
that now.
good. But good enough. And of course, joining you guys in the live chat here, Ray Ora is there. Ray.
Hey.
And then right beside him, of course, producer running the show today, Jonathan Voico. Jonathan, good to have you here.
Good morning, everybody.
And it is great to have you guys here. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break the show down into two parts. In the first half of the show, we're going to take some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. Now, how do you get a live comment or question on? Two things. Number one, you got to be watching live. Number two, when we get to the end of the main topics, I will announce that we're opening up the super chats. And once we do, you guys can fire in your thoughts, opinions, comments, critiques, theories, questions, whatever you guys have, send them on in, and we will address those in the second half of the show. But for now, I also got to remind you guys that later today at 3:30 p.m. Los Angeles time, that's 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will be doing our Ms. Marvel open spoiler discussion for episode 5. So if you guys have seen Ms. Marvel episode 5 by then, make sure you come on by and join us and tell us what you thought about the episode as well. Okay, guys, with that all down, let's get into some off the tops here. And the first one is this. You know, when we were at CinemaCon a number of months ago, they showed us a trailer that had not come out until today for a brand new film called Amsterdam. Now, Amsterdam might be the most stacked cast I have ever seen. What was the name of the Don't Look Up, the meteor one?
That was what it was
Yeah.
called.
Right.
Don't Look Up.
Yeah, now that was a crazy, stupid, stacked cast. This is likened unto it. Because listen to these names. Christian Bale, John David Washington, Margot Robbie, Zoe Saldana, Timothy Oliphant, Academy Award winner Rami Malek, Robert De Niro, Zod, Michael Shannon, Mike Myers, Taylor Swift, Chris Rock, Martin Harris. On and on and on and on it goes. And it's directed by David O. Russell. Of course, directed a lot of these cast in a lot of different things, including Silver Linings Playbook. What was the one with Christian Bale and Jennifer?
American Hustle.
American
Yep.
Hustle. He makes some great. I believe he also directed Fighter.
Three Kings going all the way back.
Three Kings. Super talented director. Very, very good. And they showed us this trailer a number of months ago, and I remember we talked about it in our summary of the panel. I believe Ray was smashed out of his mind. I believe actually most of you guys were smashed out of your minds.
No.
I was the only one who wasn't.
Which panel are we talking about?
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So and we loved it. We thought it looked great. So they dropped that trailer publicly finally today, and everybody had a chance to get a look at this. This looks fantastic.
It does.
I mean, it's got the mystery. It's got this frantic kind of pace to it. You know you're going to have these really super intriguing characters. I love the dynamics between them. Looks like there's a bit of a love triangle thrown in there. At the same time, it's like, I had to hit this one with a brick. What? I mean, there was just so many of these moments in it. I remember we loved it when we saw it a few months ago. It's now public. I think it looks great. And this cast is just stupid. David O. Russell likes to go back to the performers he knows to work with. And these performers always come back to work with them again. They love working with them. So I thought it looked fantastic. Rob, you had a chance to revisit this trailer again. What did you think about it?
Dude, you know, with all of the franchise movies we love, it's nice to see something that is an original story. It's a period piece. It's stacked with a great cast that looks like it's having a great time, but also a really intriguing story. And to me, I miss movies like this. And it is a 20th Century Fox, 20th Century Studios film. So I think it was inherited. I don't know if they made it under the auspices of Disney after the sale, but it just looks like the kind of movie that I'm literally starving for. You know, I feel like a man in the desert for 40 years. Like, I've been in the desert for 40 years. Oh, here's what studios used to make.
Right.
Fiercely original movies from auteur directors who write and direct with a huge stacked cast of stars. This is why I want to go to the movies. Man, does this look good. I watched the trailer twice this morning.
And again, our reaction to it when we saw it in Vegas was incredible. Amy, you obviously weren't with us in Vegas.
No, but I want to be smashed in Vegas now, too.
Yeah,
You're just stacking up the stuff I'm not doing.
That was quite a video. And you had a chance to watch the trailer for Amsterdam for the first time today. What were your impressions of it?
It looks like it has so much potential to be fantastic. Like you said, stacked cast, looks super fun. I love a good, like, high energy kind of period piece like this. My one concern for me, like American Hustle, had a similar, like, great cast, really fun. Got just a little, one of those movies, I walked out of it, I was like, that was so fun. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, what the hell happened? Just a little too big, a little too much, a little bit just overblown. So I'm hoping this doesn't fall into that same category of so much potential and for me falling a little short. I'm hoping this lives up to just how fun, and I hope it's just a little tighter.
That's an astute observation. You know, you're not wrong, because I felt the same way about those trailers for American Hustle.
Was that right?
What was the other movie with the great cast that ended up being your big disappointment? Was it the mobs, the gang? Gangster Squad?
It's called Gangster Squad. Yeah, that was another one. You had Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, I believe Josh Brolin, Sean Penn.
Wow.
I mean, Giovanni Ribisi, I think, was in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it went on and on and on. You're right. Like, that was a trailer, and I love the director too. I remember those trailers start coming out. I'm like, this is going to be a best picture. I just tell you right now, before seeing anything in the movie, this is going to be a best picture contender. I came out of the movie going, that was shit.
Because a great cast and a great setting does not a tight script make necessarily.
Exactly. But one of the things we got going for us here is that these are performers and a director who have all, I mean, with a couple of exceptions, a lot of these have worked together before. And you're right about the American Hustle. That is one of my least favorite things. But if they can lean more towards like what they did and the tightness they had in like something like The Fighter or Silver Linings Playbook, which I thought was a really well balanced. If they can do that, then great. And you're right. It does seem like this one has a bit of a lighter tone than some of his other ones do as well. The Chris Rock edition in here is perfect. There's a white man in a box, not a coffin, a box. How do you think this is going to look? I mean, I just thought it was great. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to see the new trailer for Amsterdam, now out and available for the public? If so, what do you think? Do you have high hopes? Maybe it didn't do anything for you. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys. With that down, let's move on to one other off the top that also just happens to be about a trailer, and that is this. One of my top 20, I've talked about this before, all-time favorite films. It doesn't crack my top 10, but it is for me in my top 20, and I don't think there's another human being alive that this movie's in their top 20. But it is for me. And that's Clerks 2. Because Clerks 2 had that, raunchy, whatever, and, Rosario Dawson, who was like every teenage boy's dream girl character in that movie, like all that kind of stuff. But at the heart of it was this incredible story about a guy who is struggling with, what is my priority in life? I have a great opportunity to further my career and get ahead and blah, blah, blah. But doing that means leaving my friends, my family, my circle, and leaving the people who are important to me in my life. And that I watched that movie as I was facing the same dilemma. And so because of that, and the Smashing Pumpkins song that's in that, what's the name of the boom 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 boom? I just can't remember the name of the song. But that song is like so perfect. Whenever I hear that song now, all I think about is Clerks 2. But because of that, it made a real emotional impression on me, and it's been with me ever since. I love it. So when they announced that they were doing Clerks 3, I got really excited. The trailer has come out. I can tell you, my excitement is gone. My excitement is gone. Now, let me preface this with a couple of things. Number one, I didn't think the trailers for Clerks 2 looked any good. And now it's like one of my top 20 favorite films of all time, right? Number two, it is just a trailer. Lots of trailers I've seen that I didn't like, that I ended up loving the movie. And I hope that's what happens here. And I love Kevin Smith. Love Kevin Smith. But while it's great seeing the characters again, Dante is starting to look his age a little bit, which he should, but revisiting these characters again makes my heart feel great. Seeing Jay and Silent Bob come up in front of the shop and starts dancing, stuff like that, makes my heart feel good. But the moment that they reveal that the plot of the movie revolves around Randall, I get confused. Which one's Randall? Which one's Dante? Anyway.
No, you're right. Randall's
Randall deciding that he's going to make a movie. I'm like, really, Kevin? Haven't you done this like exact thing already? Like in a roundabout way? Like, listen, the movie may be absolutely fabulous, and I'm going to keep my hopes high. I'm just saying, if I'm only speaking about the trailer, because I'm going to remain very optimistic for the movie. But if I'm going to be honest, just talking about the trailer disappointed me. It kind of let me down. There were definitely moments in it that I was smiling and grinning. Absolutely. But again, to me, it was just about finding out that the plot of it is they're going to make a movie, and I can just see them recycling 18 other jokes they've done in some of the Jay and Silent Bob movies. And I don't know. The trailer didn't click for me. Amy, you had a chance to watch the trailer. First of all, do you have any kind of connection to the old Kevin Smith movies, whether it's Mallrats or the Clerks or whatever? And what did you think about this trailer?
I mean, I think I almost think I have a little less trepidation about it. And maybe that is because I like Clerks. It's not like a personal. So to me, it's just like, all right, we'll see how this goes. I think meta is always just going to be a really fine line to walk. It can either work great and be super funny and some really clever jokes, or it can get a little grating. So I'm a little on the fence of, we'll wait and see what the buzz around this one is. It could go either way for me.
Rob, what did you think about it?
I think I liked it more than you, only because, I like seeing, to me, it landed for whatever reason. The thing that was disappointing to me, and I think it's been disappointing because I like Kevin Smith as well, his last couple of movies, and this one had that, it looks like they went out and shot it on a weekend with a video camera or phones. And it...
Which is a little harkening back to how he shot the original.
But it does. But I like the way Clerks 2 and Dogma when he went, widescreen, and it just seems that visually he's sort of regressed a bit. And I think it would have helped. And again, having not seen the movie, just looking at the trailer, I think if it was a little more lush visually, I mean, you're shooting the quick stop and everything it was all these kind of flat shots. And maybe that's the style of Clerks. But I liked seeing Kevin Smith start to break out and do some more things that were dynamic visually. But that said, I really did feel from this trailer that it really is informed by Kevin Smith the last few years of his life. I mean, he had a heart attack. He came very close to dying.
Yeah, that's true.
And
I didn't even think about that. So that's a good personal element for him.
Yeah, and I really kind of felt that. And Randall, like I love the moment in the trailer where he stands up and he's pontificating and then he flatlines. It's like deed. And I don't know. I thought that was interesting. But I really do like to see filmmakers that make films when that what's going on is so intertwined with their actual real lives. Mm-hmm. Because I feel that there's some real insight to be gleaned from a movie like that. Right. So I did smile at this trailer. Yeah. And I did feel like, you know what? I will watch this now. I didn't have any feelings about it one way or another. But this did, like a trailer, it did move my needle into, I would like to see that. I would like to see what Kevin Smith's response to a near-death experience,
Right.
has meant to him, and how does it relate to these characters that began his career? Because like you said, with Clerks 2, again, he was dealing with his own life, and what does it mean when you do have to leave, and you do have to, you took a leap.
Yeah.
Your friends had that intervention and said, go do this thing, and you left your home country, and made that journey. And I think that if a filmmaker has something like that to say, I think it's worthy at least to experience. So I'm kind of excited.
Quick, I mean, this could have been the worst trailer in the world. I would still be very excited about watching the movie.
Yeah.
I think it's just that line of, is this going to be kind of a sweet throwback for fans of the original films, or is it going to kind of stand on its own?
Yeah, and by the way, one other thing, I can't believe I've been talking about all these other Kevin Smith movies. I really like Zach and Miri Make a Porno too.
Yep. Yeah.
That was like really charming, funny. Brandon Routh and Justin Long. I know they're not in the movie much, but Brandon Routh and Justin Long is this couple. I could watch that on loop all day. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to see the trailer for Clerks 3? If so, what did you think of it? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. Okay, guys. With that down, we're now going to move into our main topics here today. But before we do, we want to take a quick second and thank one of the sponsors of today's episodes, the good folks at Storyblocks. We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of today's video, Storyblocks. Guys, I have been an enthusiastic fan and user of Storyblocks for years. I go to them whenever I'm in need of content creation assets like royalty-free music, video clips, or templates for my creative projects, ranging anywhere from little editorial videos to my very own full-feature documentary. Storyblocks helps you bring your stories, videos, and projects to life without sacrifices due to time, budget, or access to resources. They have over 1 million different story assets ranging from stock videos, audio and music, an in-browser video editor, and they feature pre-designed templates, animations, and outros. Storyblocks uses an affordable subscription model, and their unlimited access plans offers, unlimited video and audio downloads rather than a costly pay-per-clip model. With Storyblocks, you'll be able to create more content and, more importantly, better content, all while using a subscription plan that fits your budget, utilizing unlimited downloads of demand-driven and diverse content. So if you're interested in upping your content creation game, head over to www.storyblocks.com/Campea and get started today. That's www.storyblocks.com/Campea. And a big thank you to our friends at Storyblocks for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Hey guys, if you want to check out our sponsors, we've got the links and their promo codes at the top of the description of this video. And when you support our sponsors, you're actually supporting us. So thank you again to Storyblocks. All right, guys. With that down, let's get into our main topics here today. And how do we select our main topics? Well, that's easy. You guys come up with them. Whenever you guys come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic here on the show, just go anytime, 24/7, over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Amy, what is our first main topic today?
Our first email comes from Reed Mitchell, who says, "Hi, John and crew. So I finally got around to watching Lightyear because my girlfriend wanted to see it. It wasn't bad, actually, but it wasn't great either. I was a bit confused about the whole movie since I never really understood what it was supposed to be. Wondering if you heard even Tom Hanks is now joining the conversation, saying he just didn't understand why Tim Allen wasn't allowed to be Buzz for his own movie. Did you read his comments? And if so, what do you think of them?"
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, Reed Mitchell. And listen, when a Pixar movie underperforms, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And when it's a Pixar movie that is associated with one of their their absolute most celebrated IP, that makes it even a bigger story. And people will start to come out of the woodwork and put in their 2 cents worth. I mean, we talked about last week, Tim Allen himself came out and said, I mean, it's a nice story, but it has nothing to do with Buzz Lightyear, and it has no connection to Toy Story, and I just kind of wish it had more of a connection there. Well, now, America's Dad has come out and actually started to throw in his 2 cents about the whole thing, as Tom Hanks is now weighing in on the whole situation about Lightyear, maybe some of the missteps they had. This is what they said. This comes to us from the folks over at the Hollywood Reporter, who said the following. The star, Tom Hanks, was asked whether it would feel strange to compete in theaters opposite a Buzz film, because of course he has the Elvis film out. How about that? Hanks replied, appearing to be a bit befuddled about the situation. Actually, I wanted to go head to head with Tim Allen, and they didn't let Tim Allen do it. I don't understand that. When the interviewer implied that Evans is a big name at the moment, Hanks responded, yeah, I know. The actor then added diplomatically, but here's the thing, just as long as people come back to the motion picture theater, I want to go back into the theater with a bunch of strangers and leave with something in common. I love that phrase. I want to go into a theater with a bunch of strangers and leave with something in common. That's what I want to do. And that, of course, comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter. Look, there were a couple of things that were in the discussion circle when it came to Lightyear. What the person who wrote in the email kind of pointed one out that we said from the beginning. It's like, what is this movie? Right? Now, when I saw the first half hour of it, I'm like, this is going to be Best Picture of the Year. And then I saw the movie and saw the second two acts, and they didn't quite live up to. I still like, don't get me wrong, I like the movie. I do. I like it. But the second two acts don't live up to the brilliance of the first act, unfortunately. But from the beginning, we were asking the question, why are they doing this movie? What is this movie? How is this Buzz Lightyear? And of course, we heard Tim Allen talk about that. But one of the things that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, it never bothered me, but one of the things that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way was the fact that Tim Allen wasn't doing the voice. If it's Buzz, it's Buzz. Now, to me, I'm like, whatever, this is a different version of Buzz. I'm fine with it. But a lot of people were like, listen, you're doing Buzz Lightyear because you're trying to cash in on the nostalgia factor. Well, guess what? A big part of that nostalgia is that Buzz Lightyear is Tim Allen, is Buzz Lightyear is Tim Allen. And if you're not going to have, so when even Tom Hanks, who never says a negative thing, is going to come out and say, yeah, why didn't they let Tim Allen do this? Why didn't they let him do it? Like, if you know he's saying that publicly, oh my God, what's he saying privately? So listen, for me, straight up, not a big deal that it wasn't the voice of Tim Allen. But clearly for a lot of people, including Tom Hanks, it was. I don't know that you can point to that and say, that's why people didn't go to the theater to see. I honestly think it had a hell of a lot more to do with the fact that people never understood what it even was, what the movie was supposed to be. It clearly wasn't a Toy Story movie, whatever. But anyway, Rob, you hear Tom Hanks now coming out and saying stuff about this. What do you think about his comments?
Well, I think that there's a lot to that. I mean, clearly, when we saw the film, the first 30 minutes, I kind of was delighted by the whole thing. I'm like, this is really good. You know, I really enjoyed it. I had an emotional response to it. But upon
a lot of tears in the theater.
A lot of tears. Upon further reflection, though, and after talking to people about it, it was pointed out to me, like, there's no way this is the movie that young Andy saw in 1995. And the fact that the actual toys themselves in this Toy Story franchise are toys like John Lasseter would have had when he was a boy, like in the 60s. And I started to realize, okay, so maybe this movie was too clever for its own good. And what it needed, first and foremost, for the general public, for people that wouldn't even spend as much time contemplating the realities of this film as perhaps I did, the meta nature of it all, and maybe this is what he saw. Tim Allen is Buzz. Like, I mean, I know Patrick Warburton voiced him in the TV series that you can't even see anymore.
Yeah, but nobody even remembers that, so.
Nobody remembers that.
Which kind of speaks to the point, I think.
Absolutely. And it's just kind of weird in a way. And by the way, I loved Chris Evans' performance. I really did. But most people are like, it's Tim Allen. Now, like you said, would that have made a difference? I don't know if it would have made a difference, to be honest.
Maybe a small one.
Maybe a small one. At least we would have been having these conversations. Tom Hanks would have been like, I hope my friend gets paid. You know, and I mean, it would have been, that would have been great. You would have seen Tim Allen do it. And the question then begs to be asked, why didn't he do it? You know, and we haven't asked that. Was it a political issue? Did they feel it was part of the story? I don't know. But upon further reflection, I think that it is kind of weird that he didn't. And I used to not think that way. You
know what I always say about the movies, right? Winning cures everything.
Yeah.
Here's the funny thing. Had the second two acts of Lightyear been as good as the first, none of us would be talking about this.
Right.
Nobody would talking about why wasn't it Tim Allen, and how doesn't it make any sense that what's his name isn't the other guy's father, and none of us would be talking about that. Because when you make a great film, everybody forgets about all those things,
Yeah,
right?
no, it wouldn't have mattered.
But when you make a film that doesn't live up to that, then all of a sudden these sorts of issues get highlighted a lot more. Anyway, Amy, you were hearing Tom Hanks is saying, I don't get why they didn't let Tim Allen do this. What do you think about his comments?
First of all, leave it to Tom Hanks to end that on just the classiest. Like I do. I love that. Just like swinging around to be like, hey, but filmmaking, am I right? Like, that said, I'm going to be honest. I'm a huge Pixar fan. Like that is ingrained in my DNA. Like I grew up with the Toy Story movies. I haven't seen this yet. I don't care that much. Because first of all, if I'm being honest, Tim Allen or not, Buzz is not my favorite character in the franchise, at least not as a standalone. I love him when he's playing off of Woody in the movies. They're a great buddy kind of comedy dynamic. He's not the character I really needed to see more of.
Now, that's an interesting comment to me because maybe you're not the only one.
Yeah, I think he's one that sells a lot of toys. And I think that for me as a diehard Pixar fan, it's like, I went with you for Toy Story 4. Against all odds, you pulled that off and it worked for me.
Yeah.
Like, to me, to start going, how else can we sell Buzz Lightyear toys and make the new generation want? It just starts feeling a little cash grabby more than we really had a story to tell. Honestly, I wonder if this movie wouldn't have done better had they just made a fantastic standalone, like Pixar's doing a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
And, and you didn't tie it in, and you didn't have people going, I don't understand what this is. I'm kind of burnt out on Toy Story. It feels like a cash grab. There's the whole weird thing with Tim Allen. Had you just gotten Chris Evans to go, we're going to make kind of just a really fun, like sci-fi space adventure, I think, and going, great, it's the first Pixar movie back in theaters since the pandemic. I think I probably would have been first in line to see it. But the weirdness and the meta-ness and the confusingness, it kind of turned me off.
We did talk about that before, that in some aspects it almost kind of felt like this was one of the 5,000 scripts sitting on a shelf somewhere. And some said, well, what if we took that script and put a Buzz Lightyear skin on it?
Yeah.
And then and that's kind of how it came across, I suppose.
That's interesting. I know that could very well be true.
I mean, we've seen other franchises do that too. We've heard of other franchises go.
The Die Hard franchise is famous for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted to add to what she said. All I wanted to see, I didn't want to see Buzz. I just wanted to see the Pixar version of space.
Yeah, their quality of
where they were out there were cool. I mean, and they didn't do enough of it. They were always on a.
I think that's a great point. Also, this is the first animated film they did, and they formatted it for IMAX. I mean, there was, from a technical standpoint, this movie is beautiful. They did a wonderful job. They spared no expense, and I did love seeing this movie in a large format theater. And
yeah, I like the movie. I did
too. I did too. I liked it, but like you said, we were really blown away by that first 30 minutes.
Yes. Yeah.
And I kind of wish that I didn't see the rest of it.
I kind of wish that too.
You know, I mean, if I walked away like, Lightyear was the greatest movie I ever saw, you know.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think of this? Tom Hanks is now coming out and saying kind of critical things about Lice. Like, yeah, why didn't they let Tim Allen do it? Anyway, guys, what do you make of that? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Amy, what is our second main topic today?
Our second main topic comes to us from 2 a.m. is my midnight. Just watched episode 5 of Ms. Marvel, and I gotta say, kind of disappointed. This made me sad because the first 4 were excellent. I think the first 2/3 of the episode were strong. Learning about this part of history is really eye-opening to me. Admittedly, I don't remember learning any of this in school. Anyways, the last act is where the episode lost me. It was just so messy and rushed. Honestly, I'm just confused about what's happening now. Who's the actual bad guy? How in the world are they going to finish this series off with one more episode? Thanks, and BOTF.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, man. And yeah, look, okay. I am loving Ms. Marvel. I am loving this show. So episode 5 comes around. Granted, episode 4, I wasn't big on the Red Dagger stuff, but I still like the episode overall a lot. So, and when the way that last episode ended with her in, I keep forgetting the name of the city, the town she's in.
She's in Karachi, right?
Karachi, right. With her in Karachi, back in time at that train, I thought that was a great way to end that. I was really looking for where they'd go with this. And we're going to do, once again, we're going to do our open spoiler discussion of Ms. Marvel Episode 5 at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time today. So come back for that. But just some general things without dropping many spoilers here. So the fact that the first 2/3 of this episode happen tells the backstory. Goes back in time to Kamala's grandparents, great-grandparents, I should say. To their great-grandparents. Of course, her great-grandmother, who is the Jinn, and meeting her great-grandfather, setting great historical context. Like, I'm watching the first 10, 12 minutes of that episode, and I'm like, this is what's making Marvel kind of special. There is nothing superhero-ish about this episode so far, and this is wonderful. Like, I was eating it up, the whole backstory. This strange woman appears in the village, the romance that develops between them. Like, when she says, I'll break your leg, he's like, what, this leg? I mean, I was eating that up and loving it. And then getting that backstory, layering foundation to deepen our understanding about Kamala and what her circumstances are right now. And then the big twist that they had in there, which we will discuss this 3:30, but the big twist that they had in there, that was all great. But here's where the problem comes in. We are confronted again with the fundamental disservice that the 6-episode seasons deliver. Because when this episode ended, I'm like, this is a great midway point of the season. Mm-hmm. And this is not the first time that we have felt like this in a Disney Plus show. That episode ended last night. I'm like, yeah, this feels like the mid-season break. We're halfway through the story now. This is great. But oh wait, like so many other of the Disney Plus series before, there's only one episode left. How the actual hell do you take all this stuff that you've done and wrap it up in one, what will probably be 39-minute episode? Because last night, taking away the previously on and the credits, that's a 35-minute episode last night. Yeah. Second last episode. And so what we now feel like we have in a lot of other Disney Plus shows, it's like starting strong. This is great. And then all of a sudden you feel the showrunners put their foot to the floor and go, okay, now we got to go. We got to go. We got like 47 minutes of storytelling left. Go, 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 go. And all of a sudden, the Jinn aren't there anymore. All of a sudden. And I don't know if, all right, I'll say this, but without saying you won't know the context. Was that Terragenesis? I have no idea if that was Terragenesis going on. Anyway, so all of a sudden, they're gone and blah, blah, blah. And now we're heading into this. Oh, and now this guy does this. Oh, and now this is happening here. And all this happening within the time frame of about 3 minutes. And then the 3 minutes ends, and it feels like the power went out somewhere. It's like, wait, like the episode just suddenly stops. And you realize there's one episode left. And this, again, is a testimony to the failed legacy of Bob Chapek and his business cronies who are now in charge of making these decisions instead of the creators, who under Bob Iger used to make these decisions. It used to be the creators that would decide how many episodes, how long we do, how deep do we go, blah. That all used to be Kevin Feige got to make those decisions. He doesn't anymore. Yes.
Amy, are you okay? That happens sometimes. Like this rumble.
What?
No, John. I thought you looked like you were like.
I was just enjoying the Chapek hate. I was just taking it all in.
But that's the thing. This is, again, what happens when you get suits making these decisions. Because, again, now we had the setup, and that's what we've had from episode 1 through 5. This great beginning, establishment, whatever. It's like, oh, yeah, we haven't even seen Nakia again. Mm-hmm. I love that character.
She's great.
Bruno finally came back. Love him. I haven't seen the dad in 2 episodes. And that normally would be fine if we had 10 episodes or if we had 12 episodes. But once again, we are going to be served a dish that is short on everything. And we're going to go, there were a couple things that are good about that, but the meal's over and I'm still starving. Not wanting more, dissatisfied. I don't want to hear this. No, they're leaving the audience wanting more. No, they're leaving the audience dissatisfied. And this show has been great so far. And I already know what's going to happen with the finale. It's going to be super rushed. It's going to be awkward. It's going to feel disjointed. And then it's going to feel like it came to an end all of a sudden. Because they've only got 30-something minutes of storytelling left. And therein lies the problem. So again, I thought the episode was good. If it was episode 5 of a 12-episode season. But the fundamental flaws of this ass-backward, idiotic 6-episode stretch just doesn't work. And because here's the problem. Some people can point to me and say, well, John, a lot of shows in the UK will have these shorter episodes. Yes, but they structure them as such. When you watch episode 2 of a 4-episode season, you feel like you're halfway through the story by the end of episode 2. And they just are not handling this well. And I fear that this is going to ruin what has been a fantastic show for me so far. Anyway, Rob, you had a chance to watch Ms. Marvel episode 5. Generally speaking, what did you think of it?
I really love this episode, but I feel exactly the same way you did. To me, this episode is the turn going into Act 3, which should be a 3-episode act.
Right.
This should have been a 9-episode series. I mean, this is a coming-of-age story, and it's a coming-of-age story of a girl who's coming to grips with her immigrant family, their identity, her identity. And what was really interesting is her delving into the past that she didn't really understand. She could understand being an immigrant, the children of immigrants and all of that, but what she got to see and experience because she has these powers is something that most kids don't, where she gets to understand an earlier generation and what they've gone through. And, being raised a Jew like myself, you get to hear a lot about that ancestry thing happening. But this was from a culture we don't normally see here in the United States. So her education essentially is now over. So now what's she going to do with it? What person is she going to become? Now that she not only has the power, but she now has a true understanding of her family. She probably now has a better relationship with her mother.
She knows where she came from.
Understands a lot of her own history. So then, armed with this new understanding of herself and her family and her legacy, she moves forward to be the person she's going to be. But I don't know what's going to happen. Who does she have to confront now? What's going to happen? Where are we going with this? And wherever we're going with it, like you said, is going to happen in 38 minutes. And I'm to me, this has been such a fulfilling story. And I never thought that I would be as caught up in her journey as I have been, because I think the show's really good. With all the and I was a part of the fanboy bitching and moaning and complaining before I went into the show. You watch the show, it is wonderfully made. The acting is wonderful. The design of the show is great. She is a star.
Yeah.
But now I'm wow, this is an amazing setup. You've done a terrific job up to this point. And now, John, I mean, if Thanos came back and she had to fight him, I still would feel unsatisfied because I want more,
Anyway, Amy, you had a chance to check out the episode. How did you feel about it?
I absolutely agree that it's just too short. And I like so much of what they did here, but I was really frustrated because it's they established so much in those first couple episodes. Those first 3, the world, the family, the friends, even I'm what happened to the girl who wants to be an influencer? And what happened to the cute stuff with the text messaging? And I don't even feel like we really got to see her really learn and get comfortable with her powers. And for me, I wanted 2 more episodes of that. I wanted to see enough of that this felt like an interesting little palate cleanser of we're doing something totally different now. We're in a different country. We're doing this flashback. And it feels justified because I don't want to get sick of it, but I feel satisfied that we've set all this up and I got to live in that long enough.
Right.
Literally, when this episode started, I was like, are we going to get Kamala Khan back? Because we have one more episode and she's so good. Yeah. And not that everyone in this episode wasn't phenomenal, not that it wasn't beautiful, but my gut instinct was just, I don't want to lose her for a whole episode and then wrap it up. So to me, it didn't even feel like a midway point. It felt like it should have been 2/3 of the way through, but that 2/3 of the way through needed to be about 3 episodes longer.
Yeah, and to what you guys are saying, again, we get to the end of this, we set up the establishment of her, her family. She starts to acquire her power. She starts to now understand her background and her character. And it feels like now we're ready to launch.
Yep.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Except we only got one episode left. Like now is when she should be coming back to the States. Now armed with an understanding of where she came from, where these powers come from. Now get together with Bruno, work more on developing that, start fleshing out whoever your ultimate villain's going to be, blah, blah, and work towards your crescendo. Instead, now they got to rush towards some arbitrary finish line. This thing would have worked so much better as a movie. Like as a 2 hour and 15-minute movie, and you structured it right, this would have flowed so much more satisfactorily. Instead, they try to do it as a 6-episode thing, and it just feels so. And again, I liked the episode. I did.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating seeing where they're at now. Anyway, guys, once again, don't forget, if you've had a chance to see the episode, we will be doing an open spoiler discussion at 3:30 this afternoon. Make sure you guys come back and join us for that. But for now, did you see the episode? If so, what were your general thoughts? Jump on down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 3. Amy, what is our third main topic today?
Our third topic today comes from Tavita Mafi, who says, Aloha, John and crew. My most anticipated show this year is Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, or Loader-Trop, as I think we should call it. My excitement has exceeded exponentially with the new footage that Amazon released. It looks like a teaser will be out on July 14th, Prime Day. I was wondering if you or the others saw the footage, and how high is your anticipation level after seeing that stunning footage? Wishing y'all the best, and BOTA.
All right. Thank you so much for sending that in, man. And yeah, look, everybody knows my single most anticipated thing for television coming out is nothing DC, is nothing Marvel, is nothing Star Wars. It's Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. I'm not sitting here guaranteeing it's going to be great. Might be crap. But, I mean, with all the people who are involved with behind the scenes, the people who are in charge of making this thing, I love what I think we have coming. So I'm very, very excited about it. So they dropped for the general public a 15-second teaser. But if you were an Amazon Prime member, they dropped the full 1 minute. But even that full 1 minute is just a portion of the real full teaser that is coming on the 14th. So understanding that, I mean, I loved what we got, that 1 minute thing. The whole idea, there's something conceptual about this thing where it's basically there's a comet flying through the sky. Now, whether that's supposed to be the representation of a return of Morgoth or the establishment of the new... the reforming of the spirit of the enemy or whatever. I don't know what it's going to be. But the fact that that was there, that became a physical representation of the threat Middle-earth is going to face. Mm-hmm. And as it's sailing across the sky, all these different people groups look up and see the same doom coming, right? The same thing. And what was the line? That I can't remember what the one... a sip of water went down the wrong way. One drop of water went down the wrong way. I can't remember which character it was, but he looked up and says something about the skies. I can't remember the exact line.
I think it's the skies are strange.
There are strange skies or something like that, yeah. I just loved it as a 1 minute kind of announcement. This thing's coming, but again, going through and seeing all these different people groups having to look up to the sky. I thought conceptually it was really well done. The real question will be, what is this full teaser going to be? Because the first thing they put out is still sitting there. The first thing they put out, it was really just a, hey, everybody, Middle-earth is coming back, right? Mm. Nothing super exceptional about it. It was just telling the world, this thing's coming back and that's fine. But I think this teaser has to be the one that has to make us go, wow. And if this is just a little taste that sets up to that, they could be doing that. So we'll have to see. Rob, you had a chance to take a look at this full 1 minute footage. What did you think?
I mean, it looks good, but I would expect nothing less. I mean, they spent $250 million on the rights. The thing that I want to know, the only thing that I want to know about this show is, tell me about the characters. Who are they? What do they sound like? Are there going to be people that I'm immediately attracted to follow? And they have, surprisingly, in what we've seen, shied away from showing people talking very much. We got a little bit of it at the beginning, but I want to know, tell me a story. I mean, we have so much beautiful fantasy imagery all over the place now. I want to know who your characters are, because we already know the world of Middle-earth. It's what we expect. But I want to know who these new people are. What is the second age of Middle-earth like? And you got to define it for me through these characters. And I understand, but we're only 2 months away. And we are getting our trailer. When does the show debut?
But I thought it was, does it not debut in November?
That's September.
Is it September? Okay.
Yeah. So we're 2 months away. And July 15th is, I think, 2 months. And I know that's going to be really their first taste. I would expect character moments to show up there. That's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, I agree.
But I looked at this and it's certainly intriguing. I mean, it's beautiful. It looks great. But I want to know about the characters. And I mean, this was just a tease.
Yeah, one of the 14th has to start delivering that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's when I would expect that it would start.
And that's,
delivering it.
because we all, what makes something like Game of Thrones great? It's not the dragons. It's not the effects. It's the people and the non-people. And I think that's what, I mean, look, Peter Jackson set the tone. Brilliant casting. Lord of the Rings, the movies. You talk about Boromir and Sean Bean's Boromir. Indelible guy. Aragorn. Ian McKellen playing Gandalf. I mean, Ian McKellen playing Gandalf, he just has to open his mouth once with the way he looks, his hat and his pipe, and you're like, you're in. And that's what they need to do to sell me, because there's a precedent they have to live up to. But I'm excited.
By the way, did you notice that we got our first glimpse of Ents?
Yes.
Spot too.
I did like that. And I'm like, okay, I'm in. I mean, look, I am excited too. But I'm a little trepidatious going in.
All right. Well, this is going to be our first chance to get their first real promo for this thing coming on the 14th. Anyway, Amy, you had a chance to see this. Where's your anticipation level been in general for the Rings of Power? And what did you think of this little tease they gave us?
Personally, it hasn't been one I'm like over the moon for. It's been a little bit of a wait and see for me. I'm finding it hard to get too excited about a teaser for a teaser right now. It's kind of where I'm at. Like I watched it. I was like, all right, here we go. Get me excited about this. And I watched it and I was like, that was pretty and I know nothing. Like, I don't know. I think post Hobbit, I'm just a little bit like, we'll see. Because those movies, I wanted to love them. And by about the second one, well, I was thinking about, I was like, I think I saw them all. I can't remember, which is never a great sign. So I'm hoping this ups the game a bit. I'm cautiously optimistic, but yeah, this didn't spark any new excitement for me.
Hey, Ray.
It comes out September 2nd, but you know what?
Wow.
What works for me is because we've just finished the movie clubs with the Lord of the Rings, right? So I'm more interested in this than I would have been without seeing those movies.
Right.
And maybe my expectations may be a little bit higher coming off those movies, which it probably is. I mean, there's no doubt. I have, this show's not going to match those movies for sure. I just don't think it will.
Well, I mean, but does it need to?
I'm just
we're
saying.
talking about three of the most celebrated films in the history of storytelling. I only need this thing to be about 65%, 70% as good as them, and that will make it a big win for me, I think.
But what's funny is this teaser had nothing to do with the characters. It's just a comet coming down. If you know me, natural disaster movies are one of my things. And if that comet crushes just a little part of Middle-earth,
Ray's going to be all in.
Baby. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Without any dialogue, 10 out of 10.
If we see this
Ray's
trailer
team
on the 14th
comment.
and it does that, crushes a village, 10 out of 10. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. Did you have a chance to see this announcement for the full teaser that's coming out on the 14th? If so, what did you think? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. Okay, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 4. Amy, what is our fourth main topic today?
This email comes to us from The Watcher. So thanks for that. Hey guys, so I've been seeing a couple of websites in my regular news feed posting lately about their most anticipated upcoming Marvel projects. So I was thinking, now that Thor: Love and Thunder is out this weekend, maybe you could give us your top 10 most anticipated MCU movies and shows still coming out, not including Thor, because you've seen that already. So what do you think we should be looking forward to? Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in. And it was funny because we were talking about the X-Men the other day with the comments coming from the Russo brothers and all that kind of stuff. And we realized just how many projects we have coming, because X-Men is not one of them. Like X-Men has not been an announced project or anything like that. But you realize there's still so many projects still to come. Now, I do not like taking questions about top 10s or top 5s, but we can do some of them when we have time to prep for it, right? So when somebody writes in the super chat, say, hey, John, who are your top 5 this? I'm like, I don't do top 5s when I have to answer it off the top of my head. But for this, I think this is interesting, especially coming off a discussion about the Russo brothers the other day, to actually take a look at the at the landscape of just how much MCU stuff we have coming and what we have coming in those things. So we're going to take a second and jump over into the Campea classroom for just a moment here. And we're going to talk about this. Now, before we get into what I would consider to be the top 10 things we should be most anticipating, and then, of course, we're going to go over to Rob and Amy and get theirs as well. Couple of projects that did not make my list. Now, remember, these are all projects that have been officially announced. Not rumored, not speculated, not that we know are eventually going to be coming, but have been officially announced, okay? So here are 4 that did not make my top 10 list. One of them is Ironheart. Was that 2 words or 1 word? I think it's 1 word.
Like one word.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ironheart. All right. And I spelt that wrong too. Anyway, Ironheart.
That's how unexcited you are.
that's how
I
excited I am
couldn't even
about
be
it.
bothered to learn it.
That is not a knock on anything. It is that me leaving that off the top 10 list is simply a reflection of the fact that I know almost, other than the fact that the character's Riri and all that kind of stuff, I don't really know anything about it. I never read Ironheart, so I don't really have a basis to be excited about. So it could end up being the best MCU project they've ever done. I'm just saying, because it's such an outlier for me right now, it doesn't crack my top 10. So that's one. Next, and some of you are going to gasp, but here's one that did not make my top 10. Secret Invasion did not make my top 10. And you might be saying, how the hell does that not make your top 10? Well, it's simple. It's going to Disney Plus. But John, you're going to have some things on Disney Plus in your top 10. Yes. I don't know how you do Secret Invasion on Disney Plus.
It's easy. You do it in 6 episodes.
32-minute episodes.
Hustle.
And that, Jonathan, is exactly why I don't have it on my most anticipated. So for now, I'm going to leave that there. Another one is Armor Wars. Now, I am intrigued by Armor Wars. I am. I think the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier sets up Armor Wars. I think that was the setup for Armor Wars. I think it's intriguing. So while it may not have made my top 10, it is one that I'm going to keep my eyes on. Another one, you guys know this, Echo. Echo does not make my top 10. They did a very bad job setting up this character in Hawkeye. That not only failed to elicit my interest, actually did the opposite and made me have negative gains on my interest in the character. So again, hoping the show will be awesome, but for now it does not make my top 10. So those are 4 things that are coming that don't make my top 10. Okay, so here is my top 10. Black Panther 2 comes in at number 10. Some people may be saying, John, Black Panther 1 nominated for Best Picture. You know, you love Black Panther. Why is it only number 10? I'll tell you why it's number 10. Not only does it not have the star of Black Panther, it doesn't have the main character of Black Panther. Now, again, I'm not saying that means the movie's going to be not great. It's still in my top 10. But if I'm going to talk about my anticipation, the 2 best things about Black Panther, the character T'Challa and the dude who played him. And one half of that is nobody's fault that they're not there. Chadwick Boseman obviously not there. And the other half is from a brain dead dopey decision to not to get rid of the T'Challa character. So you don't have the main character. You don't have the main guy playing it. So it's going to hurt my anticipation a little bit. So it's still in my top 10, and it may be awesome, but it comes in at number 10 for me. All right. At number 9, Loki Season 2. Again, I'm not in love with the first season of Loki, despite the fact that we have Miss Minutes up on the wall here in our office. I did not love the first season of Loki, but I'm hoping they're going to build on their strengths from the first one, correct the mistakes they made, give us more Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson together, because when those 2 guys are on screen at the same time, the show sang. So I'm going to go with number 9, Loki. All right. And number 8, Agatha and the House of Harkness. I love this character. And I think you have an opportunity here to do a really kind of off-the-wall thing, but there's also the opportunity to go kind of dark if you want to with Agatha. So it all depends on what they're going to do. And of course, you know, I love her. So for me, number 8 is Agatha. Number 7, The Marvels. Partially because I love Kamala Khan.
Yep.
I really liked what's her name in WandaVision? Is it Photon? What do they call the character again? Yeah, Photon. Anyway, I really liked her in that show.
Yeah.
Well, the character, but I can't remember what her call sign is. But so there, and while I don't think Captain Marvel is a top 5 MCU character, I did really like Captain Marvel, the movie. And so put those 3 together, The Marvels is my 7 most anticipated. All right. At number 6, Ant-Man 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I am a sucker for the Ant-Man films. I didn't think the second one was as good as the first one, but I still was incredibly charmed by it. The only reason I don't actually have Ant-Man 3 higher on the list is because I don't think Michael Peña's in it. And to me, that's a big strike.
Yeah.
That is a big strike, but still, Paul Rudd, look, and then you're going to have Kang the Conqueror in this as well. I think this is going to be a very pivotal movie for the MCU. So for me at number 6 is Ant-Man. All right. Going into number 5, Blade.
That's it.
You got, right? You when you announce, number 1, that you have Blade coming into the MCU, but then you don't have 1 time, but 2 time.
2 times.
Academy Award winner Mahershala Ali is playing the dude. How do you not have that on your list? So number 5 for me is Blade.
What? Number 5? That's it. Just end the list. That should be it.
I'm with you.
Last thing you said.
Blade is higher on my list.
Well, we'll get to your list in a second. At number 4, and I'm going to have this one higher than most people, but I think it looks awesome, and that's She-Hulk. I don't care what anybody says. You can go and cry all you want. I think the premise of this is awesome. I thought the trailer for it was incredibly charming. I loved what we were getting. Like the one line she says, what is this? It's fear and anger. She's like, you just basically described the base emotions of every woman, right? Like just that whole thing of the dating stuff, whatever. The fact that I am generally legitimately afraid for this man's health who's about to go and have sex with her. Like that was just, I think it looks great. I always said I wanted a She-Hulk to be Ally McBeal in the MCU, and that trailer delivered it for me. So for me, I've got it higher. Again, I'm acknowledging it's probably higher on the list than most people's, but I think it looks great. So for me, it's at number 4. At number 3, Fantastic Four. Look, there's a reason Fantastic Four comics got canceled. They aren't nearly as popular, but Fantastic Four as an IP has been dealt a dirty hand for a long time, with various iterations coming to the big screen that have really not done justice to the property. You got a lot of excitement going for it now. Unfortunately, John Watts isn't directing it now, so we'll see who ends up directing it. But I don't know how you can't be excited about Fantastic Four. So Fantastic Four for me is at number 3. At number 2, Guardians 3. What James Gunn has done with Guardians of the Galaxy, like the first Guardians of the Galaxy is probably the movie that let the world know Marvel is going to own everything. Like, yeah, Iron Man can succeed. Yes, Avengers is going to work. But when they said they were doing Guardians of the Galaxy and the whole world went, who? And they made this totally different, off-the-wall, outer space thing, and it crushed with fans, with critics, with the box office. Number 2 was also a big success. Kind of like Ant-Man, I didn't like number 2 as much as I liked number 1, but still incredibly successful, all that kind of stuff. And now James Gunn, with all the drama that went on between him and Disney, he's back in the director's chair again. I cannot help but have Guardians 3 as my number 2 most anticipated. This isn't going to surprise many people, but my number 1 is Deadpool 3. And they probably won't call it Deadpool 3. They'll probably call it something like Deadpool something or other, but the Deadpool movies are life and air and water and breath. It's just, they're everything. Deadpool 1, Deadpool 2, Ryan Reynolds was born to play this role. I love these films. And so to see what they will do within the MCU, if, as the writers are saying, they're truly letting them take the gloves off, you do whatever you want to do. The writers of this movie have said they've given us no notes. They've told us, do whatever you want. You know how hard they're going to skewer stuff in the MCU in this movie?
Oh.
I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. So, once again for me, My top 10, for those of you listening in the podcast form, is number 10, Black Panther 2, number 9, Loki 2, number 8, Agatha, The House of Harkness, number 7, The Marvels, number 6, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, number 5, Blade, number 4, She-Hulk, number 3, Fantastic Four, number 2, Guardians 3, and my number 1 most anticipated MCU project is Deadpool. So, that's my list on there. Rob, let's go over to you now. What would you say, how would you rank your top 10 of the upcoming announced MCU?
My list is similar to yours, but I mean, I have to go backwards. Now, Armor Wars and Ironheart, I mean, I don't know how I'd rank them. They're on my top 10, and I'll tell you why. Because I see them as together. You know, I see that you can't have Ironheart without Armor Wars. I think they're going to play into one another.
I remember Ironheart's going to be introduced in Black Panther, so we're going to see her soon.
Absolutely. But I think Ironheart, and I would put those probably at 9 and 10. Or 10 and 9. You know, I don't know what how I would put those. Then I would put Marvels at my number 8. And then after Marvels, I would probably put Quantumania. I love those movies. And then that's Quantumania is number 7. Number 6, I'm going to go with Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. I was going to put that higher, but I think that Wakanda 2 is going to be pivotal as far as the MCU is concerned. I think it's going to go places that we don't know. Now, here's Agatha is not on my top 10 list, even though it should be, because when I get to my number 1, you're going to be like, wait, what? Why isn't Agatha there? So for my number 6, I'm going to go with Fantastic Four, only because.
Really, I would have expected that you would have had it higher than me.
The only reason is here's what I.
We don't even know who's in it yet.
That's my problem.
Yeah,
and I don't know. Like, I love the Fantastic Four. I think Fantastic Four. We've watched 3 not good Fantastic Four movies. Now I want to know: are you going to lean into Jonathan Hickman's run? Are you going to lean into John Byrne's run? Like, which run of Fantastic Four? What Fantastic? Are we going to see their origin again? Is Silver Surfer and Galactus going to be a part of it? I don't know, but I mean, I really do hope it's great. Now, Loki is next. Now, the reason Loki is next is because it seems to me that all of the shenanigans that have happened with the different universes and the different things, the multiverse, really started when Loki fractured everything.
Right.
And I think the Time Variance Authority, I think whatever they're doing in Loki is going to lead up. It's the germination of where they're going, where the new Avengers movie is going to be. And I don't know what that means. I don't know. And seeing the recently released footage, it looks like Loki's in a period time. That spy footage. Is he in the 20s?
Yeah.
Is he in the 30s? Is he? I don't know. Now, I don't know if it's been announced, but I want to put this on my list. Eternals 2. Because they did say Eternals were returning.
Yeah, but there hasn't been but we don't know if they're going to return as characters in other movies. We don't know if there's going to be an actual,
so whatever.
So that's why I'm going to disqualify that.
Okay. I want to know.
Because I think I would have had it on my list as well.
But it hasn't been announced. So where am I? Now I'm at 4. So I'm at 4. The 4 is She-Hulk. Now,
I'm glad you got it that high.
4 is She-Hulk. I love the She-Hulk comics. I love the meta nature of it. There's things that a friend of mine who actually worked on it a little bit told me a little bit about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think there's going to be a lot of, call it interesting crossovers, because she's a lawyer. I think, as we saw from Spider-Man No Way Home, with Matt Murdock visiting the Spider-Man household, the Parker household, that there's going to be a need. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see who comes to her. Like, will Frank Castle come to her? Will the Punisher show up in that show? Now, to follow up that, number 3, and I don't know if this counts. Can I count Daredevil? Because
I guess Kevin Feige has kind of said
they've said they're going to do Daredevil.
So, you know what? I should have had that on my list there somewhere as well. I didn't even think about it. You're right.
And I've got to say Daredevil, because you've had Kingpin in Hawkeye. You've had
a very
Matt Murdock.
horrible Kingpin.
I know,
Hawkeye.
I know. But you've had Kingpin. You've had Matt Murdock in Spider-Man: No Way Home. That is not a low-profile movie. That's a huge profile movie. And my number 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy 3, because I love Guardians of the Galaxy, and I put with that, if I can put with it, the holiday special.
Oh, yeah, I left that off. I mean, I shouldn't have left it off.
I think they got to kind of go together. So that's number 2. My number 1 most anticipated Marvel movie, and people are going to think, is Blade. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why it's Blade. Because one, we have seen Agatha Harkness, and I was struggling with this because Agatha Harkness was at first my number 10. Because she's a sorcerer. We got to see her history. I am really interested. How is the Marvel cinematic universe going to deal with the supernatural on a large scale? Moon Knight was introduced in Werewolf by Night. There's a werewolf. We know that there's werewolves. Blade means that there's an entire... he's not even a vampire. He's a daywalker. So where are the vampires? Where have they been? And how does that tie into Dane and the cursed blade? And is the necroscope going to come into all of that? How is all there? And the Black Knight, there is a huge area. The whole Midnight Suns. Is Ghost Rider going to show up? So to me, because I'm a huge horror fan, how is Blade going to incorporate itself into the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And how are they going to retcon the fact that these people have been here for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years? And so this is a huge deal to me. I want horror in the Marvel Cinematic Universe because it ties into Moon Knight. They haven't announced a second season of Moon Knight yet, but it all is part of the same thing. And that's the thing I'm most anticipating about the MCU is the supernatural.
All right.
Horror.
Well said. All right. Let's go over to... Okay. What's that, Ray? What are you going to say?
No, go ahead.
All right. So, Amy, let's go over to you here. You heard us rambling on about this. How would you rank... What would you have on your top 10 most anticipated coming from Marvel?
Well, first, I feel like we got to just give Ray 5 minutes to kick my ass because Blade did not make my list. It's not that I'm not.
Ray is so disappointed.
I can understand
There's just other stuff I'm more excited about. I'm not saying
Ray turned his back.
That's fair.
You've been discommendated, as the Klingon Empire would say.
I will accept discommendation. That's what he just did.
Honestly, I looked at the list and I was like, can I just put Guardians 3 10 times and then like an 11th spot for the holidays? But I love that franchise so much. But that said, I went in, I still remember some friends were like, we're going to go see this movie.
So I'm assuming you're starting at number 1.
I can start at 10, but my number 1 will not be a surprise now, I guess. But no, but that said, I want to give like the other stuff a fair shot because I remember going to see Guardians. Some friends were like, we're going to go see this at midnight. I Googled what it was and I was like, oh shit, I'm going to fall asleep. Like B-Team Marvel, are you kidding? And like 5 minutes in, I was like, oh, this is the best goddamn movie I've ever seen. This feels like they made it for me to enjoy. Like so fun. But so I went ahead and I started my list off with Ironheart.
At number 10?
Yeah, at number 10. I don't know much, but honestly, I think Ms. Marvel has me a little bit like, all right, I'm liking bringing in like that teen girl energy. I think brings something kind of fresh we haven't seen before. So I'm excited to see where they go with that one. My number 9 is Loki 2. I want it to be higher. I want to love what they're doing with Loki more. My number 8 is She-Hulk. That one just, looks like it's going to be a ton of fun. My number 7 is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Agreed that, the second one didn't totally land, but Paul Rudd's so winning and the universe is just...
I think I like that movie more than most people did.
It was a solid, it was fine for me.
I loved them both, you know?
All right.
Of course, I love Guardians 2 more than people did too.
I'll stand by that movie.
Isn't it?
The villain in Guardians 2 is so much better. And that alone to me, I think the jokes aren't quite as sharp, but Kurt Russell's ego is so good and matches that universe so well. And the first one's my favorite movie. And every time I go back and watch it, I'm like, oh, I kind of forgot about this guy.
You know what my big problem with Guardians 2 was? Besides the fact that I just didn't feel like it did anything quite as well as the first one. You have a character called Drax the Destroyer who literally doesn't have a single fight in the movie. And I was like, that really stands out to me.
At the beginning, He does.
Well,
jump
there's the
into
opening credits part where
Yeah.
they're doing that. But other than that, he doesn't have any combat in the movie. It's like, that's very disappointing. Anyway,
that's a
sorry.
good point, though.
That's fair.
All right, what's next?
Number 6, Agatha, the House of Harkness. I love Catherine Hahn in that role.
I love her in general.
Yes. No, and seeing her like get her moments just so satisfying. I feel like a little bit of the end of WandaVision didn't quite like some of the Agatha reveal for me. It was a bit like, what does that mean? So I'm hoping it pulls together some of my issues there. Number 5 is the Marvels. I'm in the same boat. I'm more excited than I thought I would be just because I'm loving the Ms. Marvel stuff so much. Number 4 is Fantastic Four because I love an underdog. I'm ready to see them get their due. Number 3 is Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Obviously, without Black Panther, we'll see. But I liked so much of that movie. As much as he is like the piece holding it together, that world's so good. The supporting cast was so good. So, fingers crossed they pull that off, even with some questionable decisions there. And then number 2 is Deadpool 3 for me. I love those movies. I'm very excited to see where they go with it. And then Guardians and the Christmas special.
All right.
So I gotta say,
Ray had some.
No, I
Are you going to get on me about Blade again?
No. I don't have a top 10 list, but like I've been saying, like with all the superpowers and like beams and stuff like that, the things I look forward to are just like, let's say Shang-Chi 2. Like just for like martial arts, I know it's going to be fantastic.
But again, they haven't announced it, so
Yeah.
we can't have that on. We can't have that on our list. Or else it absolutely would have been on mine.
And then Blade, I want to see some cool sword play. Just walking through and just swiping that thing. And the Nova series, hopefully, we're going back to space and staying there with Nova. So that's all I have to add. I don't have a list. Those are just things that I'm looking forward to seeing.
I'm enthusiastic that there's a lot of stuff that I think is going to have a really unique tone.
Yeah.
Because more and more, I think Marvel's just at its strongest because we've done sort of the big, like all the Avengers stuff, like all that was amazing. But now that people are getting a little burnt out on that, the more it can be like Marvel does a horror movie. Marvel does a screwball comedy. Marvel does this, that, or the other. I think the stronger it is.
I did want to point out that I purposefully left Deadpool 3 off my list, even though I love those movies and they're highly anticipated for me. Just because I don't, in terms of the MCU of it all, I don't yet think of Deadpool as being in it.
I get it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about like the overarching storyline of the whole MCU. That's why Blade to me is so important, because how are they going to incorporate this layer that they have yet to incorporate at all, other than what we saw in WandaVision and Sorcery.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We talked about 14 different projects, I think. Question is for you. What to you, out of this huge slew of projects that are official and they're coming, have you the most interested? Do your lists look like mine or Rob's or Amy's, or does your list look completely different? Whatever you guys think about that, jump on down in the comment section below and give us your list there. Okay, guys. With that all down now, we're going to open up the Super Chats. Yes, the Super Chats are now open because we're going to spend the next half of the show just taking your live comments, questions, thoughts, observations, theories, and questions. So jump on in there and start firing them in. But before we get to them, we want to take another second. We were thanking the good folks at Blade. You know what you use a good blade for? Our friends at Manscaped. We want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Manscaped. Now, guys, you know I love Manscaped. You've heard me go on and on about the Lawnmower 4.0 and that body wash. I love it so much. And so we got to ask, guys, have you started your spring cleaning yet? The carpets need cleaning, the drapes need dusting, and your lawn needs mowing, gentlemen. And you guys know Manscaped isn't more than just one product. They have a whole lineup of products to help you guys feeling, smelling, and looking your best. And so Manscaped is proud to present to you the Performance Package 4.0, which is the only tool that you need to keep your boys looking, smelling, and feeling good this spring. Now, to start off with, you get the Lawnmower 4.0. Guys, we have talked about this. What is wrong with us? Why have we for so long been using these terrible tools that were never meant for cutting our hair down there? The razor clipper things on our electric razors. That's barbaric, guys. You need the Lawnmower 4.0. And then there's the Weed Whacker. You guys have heard our own Ray Ora talk about this thing. He loves using it to get that hair in your nose and the ear hair. And then they offer lots of other stuff like the Crop Preserver. It's an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. Panther. The Crop Reviver, it's a spray-on toner for your balls. And of course, they've got the perfect grooming tool for your face with the Plow 2.0, the perfect razor for the finest shave on that face. So guys, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code CAMPEA, that's CAMPEA at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the promo code CAMPEA at manscaped.com. It's time to throw out your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life.
And thanks to our sponsors over at Manscaping. Let me tell you, it changed my life. Ray, I hear we've got some member chats, member things, and member comments.
All right. Gonna put on my reading powers here. Hold on. AJ89 says, JC, greetings and salutations. My kids, not him again. My kids, 6 months later. Is John camping on yet? I have no idea. It was just like a little quote thing. It was like a little quote. I'm sorry, I botched that.
Are you? And then they're like,
I'm really sorry, I botched that.
You blew the
we get it,
man.
Okay, so Phil says, unable to see Thor this weekend as planned. Girlfriend got COVID. And me, being the good boyfriend, told her I won't see it without her. See it.
That's very
you're better partner than I. My boyfriend's out of town this weekend, and I was like, all right, they have theaters where you are too. This can't be my problem.
Right.
Anything else, Ray?
No, that's it.
All right.
That's all we have.
Well, I guess we'll jump right into those super chats. Amy.
Oh, we killed John, by the way.
Yeah, he's gone.
I don't know if you.
He's out.
We gave him water.
Wait. Let's. I got one. Just came in. Sorry, guys. It's Groovy Don't Play.
Oh.
Have you seen the teaser for Fall? It comes out in a month, and there's no trailer. Looks like 47 meters up. Love you guys, Groovy.
It's called Fall, F-A-L-L?
Yeah.
Haven't caught that
I
one
have
yet.
not caught that.
Yeah, I haven't even heard of it, but it's 47 meters, the shark one.
Yeah.
I really like that movie.
So 47 meters up, does that mean like there's a pterodactyl up there? Or what does that mean?
Is it a Sharknado situation?
Yeah.
Jumping fish? I have no idea. We'll have to check it out. I'm sorry, Groovy. None of us have seen it. But yeah.
Love a
that's
good shark
That's all
movie.
the premium chats. So.
All right. Well, thank you. We got Valinor78 sending in some super chatty action there. Thank you very much. And then we have Andy saying, HBO Max is clever AF. They released the entire first episode of Harley Quinn on YouTube last week. It's one smart way of bringing in more subscribers.
I'm sorry, what?
They released the first of season 3?
Oh, the first season or the first episode of
I thought he
season
said
3?
episode?
Bring that up again.
Entire first episode.
Oh.
Now, is that in the entire first episode or first episode of season 3?
I don't know.
If the first episode of season 3 is up, why did I not know about this?
No, it's probably so it's probably, I'm guessing, but I'll double check for you.
Yeah, double check because I need to know this, Ray. I need to
Are
know.
we canceling the show so John can watch this?
Yeah, I need to leave. All right, what's next?
Amin said, it's my birthday today. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Amin.
Seeing Thor tomorrow. Important question. What is your favorite type of birthday cake and why is it ice cream cake?
It's ice cream cake. Yeah, no, you're not right. It's ice cream. Look, some people get addicted to nicotine. Some people get addicted to alcohol. Fortunately, I don't have any of those vices. Oh my God, though, I am an ice cream guy. I am an ice cream guy. I eat way too much ice cream. Actually, I had to put a rule in place for myself a couple of years ago that weekends only. One time on the weekend, I can go to the grocery store and get some ice cream. That's it.
What is your favorite flavor?
Right now, it changes from time to time. Quite often, it's a good cookies and cream. For a little while, it was Haagen-Dazs's peanut butter chocolate. Ooh. Right now, my go-to is Ben & Jerry's vanilla caramel fudge.
Wow.
Ben & Jerry's vanilla caramel fudge.
Ben & Jerry's fucks it
is cocaine for your mouth. It's so good. Yeah, check it out. It's
little
delicious.
fun fact about Ben & Jerry's I just learned recently. One of them, can't remember if it was Ben or Jerry, but one of them has really poor sense of taste, and that's why their ice cream is so good and chunky.
I've heard
because he
that.
loves texture.
I thought you were going to say, here's a little fun fact about cocaine. I really did. That's what I thought you were going to say. I'm glad you went in a
I have
different
some of
direction.
those if you want to hear them.
Do you know I can only get my favorite ice cream 2 months out of the year?
Really?
Yes. Since I was a little kid, there's a Do you know Baskin and Robbins?
Yeah. Yeah, they're all
Never heard of it.
Well, I don't know.
National chain.
So Baskin and Robbins, I grew up in Seattle.
Is it
We had
Baskin
Robbins.
and Robbins?
No, it's just Baskin Robbins.
Yeah,
Baskin
have you heard of it, Rob?
Baskin Robbins. They have a pumpkin pie ice cream
Yes.
that they only make in October and November. That's the only time you can get it.
Wow.
And I will buy it. You know, I don't know what you call the tubs. Like when
Sure.
you go in there and you buy, I will buy one and it'll last for the year. It is my favorite ice cream of all time.
I love
and
their
nobody
cherry
even
jubilee.
knows. Do you know?
I've had
like
it. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
It's so good. And you can only get 2 months out of the year. I beg them to make more.
It's this guy's birthday. He asked, "What's your favorite birthday cake?"
I'm sorry, we got
gonna
sidetracked.
answer him.
I did. I said
Oh,
ice
I know
cream
what
cake.
It is. I already know what's
You know what
coming.
my favorite? Happy birthday! I mean, happy birthday, John D. in the chat. I know both of them have birthdays today. They're regular viewers. I chat with them all the time. So, it's the golden cake with the chocolate frosting. You ever see
Classic.
the boxes with that sort of cake on it?
Oh,
The-
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that is. Not
I
what thought.
always get so hungry when I see that. It's like the best cake ever. So
I-
I thought you were gonna say the birthday cake at Shogun.
no,
I thought
no,
that's
no,
where
no,
you
no.
were
That was pretty good
I do
too.
think it's an interesting question because I feel like my favorite cake and my favorite birthday cake are different answers.
They are.
You know what I mean? 'Cause, like, I'm a red velvet girl, but
Yeah.
like, I don't know
Yeah,
if that's a birthday
red velvet
cake.
is my go-to cake.
Fun
You know what?
Betty
Over-
is
Okay.
the birthday move.
I am
for
going to
me.
have to move us along though, because we have like 1,000 other questions and we're already running out of time.
let's go,
All right, what's
let's
next?
go.
Bert says resurrected Carter Burke from Aliens doing a Catch Me If You Can last Friday. I saw him impersonating a legend and hours later a scientist.
He's Paul Reiser, man. Come on. Carter Burke he's resurrected. I mean, we've got him on The Boys and Stranger
Yeah.
Things.
At the
Guys,
same time,
killing it. If they make Beverly Hills Cop 4, they have to bring him back.
what did you say? It's not the reconnaissance. Somebody called it the what?
The
The Rising.
The rising of the
re-rising or
I
the
don't
rising
know.
of Riser, whatever.
Rising of Riser. Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Next, we have Al Rensha saying, so, Clerks trailer was not a full Routh?
I would say it was not Ralph. I would give it a no. I wouldn't even give it a go. I certainly wouldn't give it a Ralph, unfortunately. Again, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that the movie's going to be awesome. I just didn't like the trailer. All right, what's next?
Tyler Pfeiffer says, love the nod to Halloween and Stranger Things when they shoot Vecna out of the house, but his body is gone when they go outside. Yeah, that's great.
I mean, that's not just Halloween. I mean, there's been a lot of different projects that have used that. But listen, there are a lot of nods in there. Matter of fact, what was I watching? Yes, I watched The Black Phone again yesterday, and I kind of half expected the Upside Down to show up because stylistically it's so similar, right? All right, what's next?
Nicholas Clark says, John, you mentioned the Russos may be taking on X-Men. Let's pray Harmon gets that Community movie written beforehand. I feel they need to be a part of it for it to be great. # 6 seasons in a movie.
I'm going to be honest with you. Number one, you know what's going to be like? What was the Jason Bateman show that everybody loves so much?
Ozark.
No.
Arrested
The one
Development?
before that.
Oh, yeah,
Arrested Development, right?
Development,
It's going to be like Arrested Development, where everybody wanted the movie to get
It's going to
made.
come back and it's going to be...
And I told people for a long time, it ain't going to do all that well. And it didn't. And I understand. My wife is a huge Community fan.
Mhm.
And I like Community too. I guarantee you a Community movie will not do well. And especially if Gambino doesn't come back for it.
Mm.
But even if he does, I just don't think it'll do well. I think people feel like it would be great, and maybe it would be great. I like the show, but I just don't think it will do well. If it does get made, it'll get dumped on some streaming thing somewhere, I think. It'll be relatively low budget, and they'll dump it on a streamer.
Yeah. Sometimes there's something to be said, like Arrested Development. It's like, we should have just let those 3 perfect seasons be perfect. Like, kind of taints it.
All right, what's next?
Casey Mack says, hey, John and crew, I can't wait for November 9th. We finally got a date for God of War Ragnarok.
Oh, the sequel is finally coming out. Of course, that thing won Game of the Year. What's it? Chris Judge does the voice. He's so, come here, boy. Like, this is the way.
Oh.
Actually, one of the coolest things was at the Video Game Awards when he went on stage to present, I think, Director of the Year or whatever. And they had the kid who does the voice of Loki come up. And I love Chris Judge slipped into his voice, and he gives the envelope to the kid and goes, open it, boy. And I'm like, oh, that was just like perfect. That was just like, yes, I'm very much looking forward to that game coming out. All right, what's next?
Up next, we have Luke1234 saying, tomorrow's RoboCop's 35th anniversary. Happy birthday, RoboCop. What do you think
35
RoboCop's
years.
favorite cake is.
Dead or Alive cake? You call it that?
That's I saw that movie at the Harvard Exit opening night, a theater that's no longer there.
I'll be honest with you. I'm surprised it's only 35. I would have felt like it would be older, to be honest with you. But anyway, happy birthday to RoboCop. All right, what's next?
Next we have BJ, ex-actor in X role. Your favorite, Daniel Day-Lewis as Dr. Charles Xavier.
Again, the point is always just as long as you have a good actor, if you want to suggest the greatest actor of all time, then yes, put him in any role. It doesn't matter. But yeah, Charles Xavier, sure, do it. All right, what's next?
We have Ryan Lohner saying Penny from Top Gun 2 was briefly mentioned in the first film as an admiral's daughter that Maverick slept with.
Penny Benjamin.
Furthermore,
and here's the thing.
I think we have a two.
I believe she's like 12 years younger than Tom Cruise, which means if Tom Cruise was around 28, and if the character was like 28, that means he was sleeping with minors and he should be arrested and court-martialed. Yes, just want to throw that in there.
Thanks,
There's a happy thought for Top Gun.
Oh, here we go. At that time, Jennifer Connelly was making Labyrinth at age 16 to
There we
Tom
go.
Cruise's 23. Have fun with that.
Yeah, I'm just want to throw that. Just saying.
Thanks,
Just
I
saying.
hate it.
All right, what's next?
Andy said, I hope that while Chris is recovering, she is also wisely using her time to catch up on Riverdale because I have so much garbage to unload on her.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, the idea of recovery is to make yourself feel better. And I don't think you're going to make yourself feel better by watching
Man, talk
Riverdale.
about long COVID.
All right, what's next?
Al Rencha says, after seeing the responses about Rey, someone needs to Photoshop the Avengers portal scene with Rey in Captain America costume and broken shield saying assemble. Hashtag the army of Rey. Hashtag we stand with Rey.
I don't understand what's that referring to. Was that the weekend karaoke?
Yeah, that was the weekend. You have no idea how you've become like the hero of the internet.
You're
Like,
the voice of the introverts, Rey.
Yeah, like everybody is like, Rey is now my hero. Rey is my spirit animal. I will
Rey,
follow
you're
Rey.
No,
Rey
but
is the
here's some
general.
advice for all the single guys out there. You really should be talking to the ladies and not playing Xbox. Please. I don't want you to go through these things, but yeah.
All right, what's next?
Stubble McShave said, could Loki cause the X-Men in earlier time period?
That would be a real cheap thing to do. To be honest, that would be kind of a sad, pathetic thing to do. So, I mean, they could, but I don't think they're going to do it that way. At least I certainly hope they don't. All right, what's next?
Hero75 said, maybe because I am an animation fan and seeing what could have been, but I'm really looking forward to Marvel What If Season 2.
I wish I was looking forward to it. There were a couple of episodes of Marvel What If that were quite good. And there were a lot of them that's like, well, that was a wasted, period of my time that I could have watched a rerun of something else. So I'd be lying to you if I told you I was. By the way, that also should have been one of the things we listed because that is officially announced. I'd be lying to you if I told you I was looking forward to it. I'm not. What about you guys?
Infinity Ultron, man. I loved Infinity Ultron.
And that was one episode.
But
Well,
that's kind of
they're making
anything
a hot tub.
anthology style, right? Like you're gonna have moments of greatness and you're gonna
Yeah.
have episodes that fall flat.
And they've leaned into it. They've taken what was animated and they've made it live action.
Yeah, but here's the funny thing too. If you had never watched What If the animated thing, you never would have even known. It was never. And that's one of the good things about Marvel, right? They can bring something from something else in. They don't make it a prerequisite to have seen something else in order to appreciate it. And that's kind of one of their strong points. All right, what's next?
Allison Hoffman says, my puppy passed basic obedience. Yay!
Yay! Our dog Lily did too, and had our dog Lily pass basic obedience when she was a puppy, and she's a bitch. She's an awful, terrible,
literally, yeah.
terrible dog.
Wow.
Totally badly. You know it's true, Ray.
Yeah, but you know what?
You know it's
She's
true.
so cute.
She is so cute. We love her, but she is awful.
Yeah.
Like we
Puppies and
can't let her.
kittens.
She is the queen of queens.
Yep, she knows it. She's the queen. Like she doesn't tolerate other dogs. So we can't take her to a dog park or do anything fun. Like whenever we're trying to walk her, if we see another dog a mile and a half up the road, we got to change directions and go somewhere else because she'll just go. Meanwhile, our other dog Shadow wants to be social with other dogs, but can't because Lily's there.
Oh, yeah.
It's really unfortunate. So hey, just because she got obedience training diploma, keep on it. Like, make sure you keep your dog disciplined and make sure you keep training her. Don't think that your job as the owner of the dog is done. Keep training your dog. All
But
right.
congratulations. Come
But yeah,
on,
it's
let's
great
end it on a high
nonetheless.
note. Congratulations. First step.
All right. What's next?
I'm thrilled for your dog. Sorry. Cinema Reviews said, with all the more mystical and supernatural stuff coming into the MCU, do you think they may be setting us up for a Midnight Suns movie or show?
I have not felt that way, to be honest. However, I wouldn't put money against it.
You know, that's what I'm looking for.
Yep.
I mean, not necessarily. And when I say supernatural, I mean, I'm more interested in how are they going to incorporate the supernatural into the MCU? Like, are they going to say that is Dracula in the MCU? There's Dracula in an X-Men comic.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So is he there? Because if Blade's there, if you're a Daywalker, I mean, how are they? And if that's the case, that means there's been vampires for how long? So what does that say about the MCU? I don't know. Like, why didn't the Avengers go after all the vampires then? I want to know these questions.
Says they got a lot of explaining to do.
Yep, 6 episodes. 6 episodes, you can solve it all.
I'm ready to get weird with it. Let's get Dracula in there. Al Renshaw said, John, how much joy would you feel if in Deadpool 3, Deadpool roasted Adam Aaron?
There would be a lot of joy. But listen, I love when Deadpool roasts my favorite things I love. Like, that's the thing. Like I don't know how many of you guys watch Pitch Meeting. That Good Canadian Kid makes those, by the way. But like, I love it when he does movies that I love. I love roasting the stuff that I love. Yeah. It's great. So, but I would especially love it if they roast things I really don't like all that much. So that would be even sweeter. All right, what's next?
Jay Master said, my top 10 MCU, 10 Black Panther, 2 9 Armor Wars, 8 Ironheart, 7 Wonder Man, 6 Armor Wars, 5 the movie's so nicely, or the series so nicely listed twice. 5 Daredevil, 4 She-Hulk, 3 Nova, 2 Deadpool, 3 1 Blade.
Blade's another top list. I mean, listen, I think it's going to be really high for a lot of people. Yeah. Like, I even knew when I had mine listed so high, I knew it was going to be low compared to some other people. So, but I'm very excited for that Blade movie. Mahershala Ali, man, all day.
If they ever make it.
If they ever make it.
Because, you know, where is it?
All right, what's next?
Hey, how did Madam Web not get on anybody's list?
What?
Oh, sorry.
Madam All right, what's next?
Kara Black says, it's been 2 days and I already love your presence on this show, Amy. Oh my God, thank you. John, will Amy be sticking around even when Chris returns?
I'll be honest with you. I just shoo her out of the studio as soon as we can, as soon as the show stops running. So
he spritzes me with a spray bottle like a bad cat.
Go. Dad.
I just see the rolled up newspaper and I run now.
All right, what's next?
Luke1234 said She-Hulk dating equals Futurama's death by Snoo Snoo.
I'm telling you, man. I think I have a feeling this is going to be one of my top 7 or 8 favorite MCU things. Look, I may watch it and hate it. I mean, I've seen lots of trailers for things that I really was excited about and then hated, and maybe this will be that. But I have a feeling this is going to be awesome. I don't know for sure, but I have a feeling it's going to be great.
Dude, I'm with you. I mean, you know, you talk about Marvel leaning into genres, the legal genre, whether it's Ally McBeal meets The Practice or Boston Legal. Come on.
Now all you got to do is bring back William Shatner as Denny Crane. Can you imagine William Shatner as Denny Crane in She-Hulk? That would be the greatest television show in history.
If I could see Shatner hit on She-Hulk, that would be a dream come true.
By the way, both good Canadian kids. William Shatner and Tatiana Maslany. Just want to throw that out there. All right, what's next?
There you go. Cutter Hale said, Amsterdam looks fantastic. It's now in my most anticipated for the rest of the year, and also I'm excited for Clerks. Love Kevin Smith movies.
I love Kevin Smith movies, too. I mean, not all of them. I haven't been a big fan, especially of a number of the Jay and Silent Bob movies. But when you're going back to things, again, like I said, Clerks 2 on that list. I love Zack and Miri Make a Porno. Chasing Amy is like it. Not my top 20, but Chasing Amy may be in my top 30 or 40 of all time. Like I love Chasing Amy. I mean, I love his sensibilities that he brings as a very relatable guy to a movie screen. And so I hope the movie's great. I really do. All right, what's next?
You know what I love about Smith's films is that, and this is odd because I'm not from Jersey. I'm born and raised in LA, but you feel like you're home. You feel like you're returning home from living somewhere else. Because it feels like returning home to Smith, and he translates that so well. It's just a comfort. It's weird. His movies are almost like a comfort food, if that makes sense.
I totally get it. Totally get it. All right, what's next?
Ohaz Gadre says, what's your anticipation level for The Sandman, BOTF?
I'll be honest with you, not high. I want to be, and listen, that's not me predicting that it's not going to be good. Don't misinterpret me. I'm just saying I'd be lying if I said right now I was really excited for it. I still have doubts that you can properly translate that to the screen.
Oh, The Sandman's my favorite comic series of all time. So I'm trying to have to be cautiously optimistic. What I've seen looks good, but it's a really difficult nut to crack.
It is.
But with Neil Gaiman's involvement, I have high hopes.
We'll see what they can do with it. All right, what's next?
Casey Mack says, John, another series that is coming back in August I forgot about is the second half of Resident Alien.
Oh my God, I love Resident
That
Alien
show is
so
so
much.
funny.
So, like, when that show started, I'm like, okay, well, it's Alan Tudyk, so I'll watch it and I'll give it a shot just because it's him. I love him. But once you start getting into episode 2 and 3 and your brain tunes in to what it is they're doing, first, the relationship between him and the kid is so funny. And just the way he's constantly wants to murder the kid. He was trying to come up with ways to murder this child. I have fallen in love with the show. I really have, and I cannot wait for that. All right, what's next?
Up next, we got Jay. Let's go back to 2013 and to infamous Red Wedding of Game of Thrones. Has there been any other TV show that has replicated the emotional impact it had on its viewers and on pop culture since that moment?
Yeah, that was crazy. Episode 1 of The Boys, season 3, with the termite. I mean, that's pretty shocking, but not on the same level as the Red Wedding.
There was a scale of just how many characters were like.
Yeah, I mean, just like that. Not since the beginning of the 1980s Transformers animated movie, when they wiped out all of the characters that the kids loved.
If we could have had...
Am I bitter on that? I might be a little bit bitter on that
But if
still.
we could have had first reactions from that would be awesome. They would just be just as shocked and emotional.
Say, no, wait. It's okay. Sideswipe's still alive. Oh, they killed Sideswipe. Okay, don't worry about it. Ironside is still alive. Oh my God, they just killed Ironside. Well, I mean, Optimus is going to save the day. What the fuck? They just killed Optimus. Like, they killed everybody.
Are you having a flashback right now?
I'm suffering PTSD on this whole thing. The trauma of it is horrible. No, I mean, but yeah, I don't know if you can ever replicate the Red Wedding.
No.
Plus, the ramifications from a story standpoint across the entire series. It was so because it completely subverted what everyone thought was going to happen.
Except for the people who had read the book.
Well, yeah, except for the people.
Which is why all those cameras were rolling in people's living rooms when the Red Wedding was coming on. It's like, what the? I had clearly never read the book, so that happened. I'm like, oh, what? Like, I couldn't believe it.
Also, John, I've been catching up on The Boys, and I had just gotten that termite scene out of my brain, so thanks for that.
That is like one of the, one of the biggest videos we've had on the channel. One time we had Aaron's reaction video to watching, and so that's one of the funniest things I've seen. But yes, oh my God, the termite scene. All right, what's next?
1253 Sir 3 says, "Hi guys, tomorrow is game day. Got my ticket to see Thor: Love and Thunder. Hope it's good."
Again, it will all depend. I can totally understand why some people don't like it. I had a very good time with it. Ann and I are going to go watch it again, but it will all depend on, does the sillier humor resonate with you? Does it work for you? Does it make you laugh, or does it make you roll your eyes? If it works for you, then I think you're gonna have a very, very good time. And I think it will for the majority of people. But I mean, there's gonna be a lot of people that humor is not gonna click, and it won't be. So here's hoping that it will be the type of humor that will click for you. I hope you have a good time. All right, what's next?
Al Rensha says, Rosario Dawson is a lot of people's dream girl now.
Yeah, for so many different reasons. But it was that movie. It was Clerks 2. It was Clerks 2. That, not just Rosario Dawson, it was the character. Like she was every high school guy's dream girl. Like, if you could put together a dream girl if you're a high school kid, like, that was it. Was her. And then, of course, she just went on to continue to be awesome and fabulous in everything that she does. And now she's Ahsoka. She made me do something I didn't think I could do, which is like the Ahsoka Tano character. And she did that. So, yeah, she's amazing. All right, what's next?
Anthony Amari says, what are you guys more excited for, X-Men or Fantastic Four?
Ooh, well,
tough one.
Here's what makes it extra tough. We know Fantastic Four is happening.
Yeah.
We have no concept of what, like, look, it's almost unfair to compare Fantastic Four to X-Men, because Fantastic Four is 4 characters. When you talk about the X-Men, you're literally talking about 200 to 300 characters, right? And what you're going to do with that. What has more potential to more heavily impact the MCU? Easily, it's X-Men. That easily is going to be the more impactful franchise or IP you're bringing into the franchise. But Fantastic Four, man, I'll go X-Men, even though it's very, very hard to call them, even though we know nothing about what they're going to do with it, how they're going to bring them in, what the nature of mutants are going to be. Well, there's so many unanswered questions, but I'll say X-Men for now. What about you?
Well, X-Men, for me, to me, X-Men is the way I love Star Trek. I love the X-Men as far as comics are concerned. I love the X-Men. I want to see them.
Do you have a one you're more excited for?
I guess I'd go Fantastic Four just because it's been announced. Because to me, it is a bit of, I don't have like a deep love of X-Men. Like, I'd be very excited to see what they do with it. But the last couple X-Men movies fell really flat for me. So it's like, both have a bit of that, let's give them what they deserve factor. So I think since they're pretty on the level for me, I'd go Fantastic Four.
All right, what's next?
Jake Clark says, hopes for Ms. Marvel finale. Black Bolt, Spidey, Matt, Carol, Monica. Watch Better Call Saul before season 6, part 2. It's on Breaking Bad.
Okay. There's so much going on in that comment. Hopes for Ms. Marvel finale. Black Bolt, Spidey. Okay, here's the problem, though. I think there's a problem we as fans start getting into now. Everything that we want no longer has anything to do with narrative and storytelling.
Yeah.
It's about, what's the cameo going to be?
We're like turning into kids with our toys just going, and then Superman shows up.
Yeah. And listen, I say that. I'm including myself in that. I am as guilty of this as anybody. But that is what's going to lead us down the road to shit stories and shit storytelling. It's like any 4-year-old moron with a crayon can write, and then Spider-Man shows up. Any idiot can write that, right? So none of what I want to see happen in the finale involves cameos. What I want to see happening is like fulfilling, satisfying narrative storytelling that leaves us in a great place to see what's going to happen with Kamala next. So I don't know. Do you have any kind of thoughts?
Shang-Chi shows up with the 10 rings.
Yeah, remember I'm going, that'll be me. I'll be like, showed up. That's totally going to be me.
To me, the show has such a wonderful narrative going. My real question after the end of the episode 5 is, what do you do now? Like, I'm curious, what is going to happen? They're going to, where do you take the show?
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Kevin Unity says, Chapek and his minions need to go. They ruined the Disney park experience, and now they are ruining the Disney Plus shows with this 35-minute runtime. Not enough time to tell these stories.
Well, I mean, then we can go over the other huge laundry list of other things. But look, like,
I got Genie Plus beef if anyone wants to hear it.
Oh, I've heard a lot of those. Look, we told you that when the challenge was going to be raised over Chapek's salary. This is before they announced his extension. We told you the board is not going to kill Chapek's salary. They do not want to give the public the appearance of instability, I should say. They're not going to affect his salary. They're not going to touch it. His initial 3-year contract has come up. They're going to renew it. And they did. This is not surprising because, if all of a sudden they're ousting their CEO, their stock prices are going to tumble. The question is going to become what happens over the next 3 years? What happens after this renewal period? Does he get renewed again? Or do they axe him? Or does he even make it through to the end of this thing? Because again, listen, as much as I am not a fan of the job that Bob Chapek has done, we've said this many times, but it needs to be, you almost got to give him a gimme in the first 1.5 to 2 years of his reign because he took over literally in the worst period of Disney's history. With the pandemic, parks couldn't be open, cruise ships couldn't sail, movies couldn't be in production, and the ones they had done couldn't go into theaters. And that was his reality. And so as critical, and you will have a hard time finding people who have been more critical of Bob Chapek than I, but as critical as I have been, you can't just sweep that thing under the rug and pretend that's not a real significant major issue. And as such, we all knew he was going to get the initial extension. Of course he was. And maybe rightfully so. Maybe. The question will be what happens after the next extension or once this period runs out. And we'll see if he turns things around or we'll see if they decide to move on at that point. All right, what's next?
Stubble McShave said, would you prefer 30 90-minute episodes rather than 6 short?
Look, it all depends. Again, it's like the question about runtime of movies. The question isn't, is a 2-hour runtime better or is a 2.5-hour runtime better? It depends on the movie. It depends on the story of the movie. I've seen movies whose stories should have been ended at 2 hours, but then they get overdrawn out to 2 hours and 20 minutes. I've seen stories that have been 2.5 hours, but they were only given 2 and it felt rushed in place, right? It all depends. My thing with like when you look at these series like Ms. Marvel, you can just tell the story wasn't structured right for a 6-episode thing. This would have been much better served as a 2-hour and 10-minute movie where you could have structured it as a 2-hour and 10 movie, had much more impact. Instead, we're getting this. So I can't answer a question about 3 90-minute episodes or 6 episodes. It depends on the story. It depends how it's structured. That's like saying is an 1.5-hour movie better or is a 2-hour movie better? There's no right answer to that. So I don't know. Do you have any other insight on that?
No, I mean, it's really all about how the story, like you said, is structured. I honestly don't know where I'm going now with Ms. Marvel. What's the next episode even going to be about? I don't know. I mean, I know it's going to deal with certain things, but from a narrative standpoint, great narratives lead you. They pull you along. This narrative has sort of stopped, and there's questions I have, but I want to know about our main character. Where's she going in the next episode?
And here's my big problem. My problem isn't not knowing where they're going in the next episode. That's fine. That can be discovered. My problem is that I know that they can't bring it to a satisfying ending regardless because of the way they've structured this thing so far. You guys both pointed out, it felt like this episode was actually the end of the second act. For me, it felt like a mid-season break. There's no way in 39, 40 minutes that you're going to be able to take what has been a great first part of this show that feels like it's just getting started and bring it to a satisfying conclusion in the next 35 to 40 minutes. They can't do it.
And the thing is, though, even though we'll know what her journey is, I really don't understand where they're supposed to. Like, usually you can anticipate where a journey's going. We understand, like, what kind of a story it is as a coming-of-age story. I don't know where Kamala's going to, where is she going to wind up? I don't know. And I don't, what I mean by that is not that I don't know narratively, like, what the plot is going to be. I really don't know where they're taking me as a viewer as far as her story is concerned, which is weird to me. Like, I feel like I've been cut loose. I feel like I'm in a rowboat that has been unmoored from the shore, and the current is taking me out further and further away, and I don't know where things are going to wind up.
All right, what's next?
Next, Jay Master said, John and Rob remember that a few weeks ago, The Hollywood Reporter exclusively broke news that Marvel is doing a Wonder Man Disney Plus series with Shang-Chi, director Destin Daniel Cretton.
I totally forgotten about that.
I remembered it, but I mean, they announced it. So it was announced, but
I've literally heard nothing about it since. Like, not a thing.
Which could happen. I mean, that could happen in 4 years.
Yep. Or, I mean, we could get an announcement tomorrow, or it could have been taken off the burner for all we know at this point. But yes, you're right about that. Thanks for bringing that back up, man. Thank you for doing that. All right, what's next?
Up next, Kara Black says, would there have been any chance of defeating the Empire if Vader never got injured on Mustafar?
What are they asking?
If Vader wasn't injured, I mean, Vader being
Could
created,
they have defeated the Empire if he wasn't injured?
I don't know what one has to do with the other, to be honest with you. Like, Vader, they weren't able to defeat the Empire because Luke defeated Vader. Remember, that was when you go to the Battle of Endor, there were 3 separate conflicts going on at one time. One of which was Vader confronting Luke, or Luke confronting Vader and the Emperor in the throne room. But at the end of the day, the result of that conflict did not affect the result of what happened on the moon's surface with Ewoks intervening and Han and the rest being able to blow up the shield generator, thus allowing Lando and Wedge to fly in and take out the Death Star. So I'm not quite sure one has anything to do with the other, to be honest with you. All right, what's next?
Caden said, my most anticipated is the panel at San Diego Comic-Con 2022. I need to see where all of this is going sooner than later.
Well, you might be disappointed because I will tell you right now, while I do not know what they will announce at San Diego Comic-Con, I will tell you this, they ain't announcing everything because they got D23 coming up shortly after that, and they're going to save a lot of bullets in their chamber for that. So I'm not saying we're not going to get anything big announced at San Diego Comic-Con. I think they will drop a couple of really good morsels. but I have a feeling they're going to save the best for their own dinner party at D23.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. All right, what's next?
Kara Black said, John yesterday, quote, every director is at their best when working with Kevin Feige. Uncle Owen to John, like Alan Taylor was at his best when he directed Thor the Dark World.
Okay, first of all, Kara, you completely misquoted me. I did not say every director is at their best when they work with Kevin Feige. I didn't say that. What I was implying, though, is like when you're working in the MCU and you got Kevin Feige there, you're going to get something good out of it for the most part, right? Listen, we can say the MCU is awesome. It is. But that's not failing to acknowledge that not everything in the MCU has been awesome. Like Thor the Dark World. Like Iron Man 3. Or Iron Man 2, I should say. I didn't hate Iron Man 3. But like Iron Man 2. Like Hawkeye. Like whatever. I mean, it's certainly not everything they've done is great. So yeah, a little bit of hyperbole there for sure. But you're fair to point it out. All right, what's next?
Jay Bling says, Rob answered this before, but do you, John, feel like the story for Deadpool 3 will significantly involve the multiverse?
No, I don't. I think it will be an element. I think it will be a part. But do I think it's going to be a Deadpool and his multiverse of madness? No, I don't think they're going to do that. Yeah. I mean, again, it will be in play. Like, it will be something that sets up the context or something. Yes. But do I think it's going to be a pivotal part of the story? I don't think so.
Feels like a thing they'll use for bits as much as anything.
Yeah, like the end of Deadpool 2. Yeah. All right, what's next?
We got Luis Enrique de la Peña says, did you see the trailer for The Woman King with Viola Davis and John Boyega? It looks badass. It looks like a rated R Dora Milaje movie.
Yep. Yeah, they actually showed that to us at CinemaCon a couple of months ago. And they brought her out on stage, which, by the way, when Viola Davis comes out on stage, you feel like you need to take a knee. Like there's a presence.
A powerful woman.
Yeah, there's a presence that she brings. And I'm not kidding. Like when she came out on stage, there was a reverence that fell over the room, right? And then she told us this is based on a true story. And she told us a lot of the background, and they showed the trailer for it. I'm glad that's out there now. And listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think it's the greatest trailer, and it feels like it's a movie that could go either way, but the potential for this movie is very high.
And she looks badass.
Oh, she looks so badass. Absolutely. All right, what's next?
The unbearable weight of being attractive said, Johnny, be good. I desperately need to know, is Chris's butt in Thor as beautiful as you dreamed of? Also, is there plenty of Guns N' Roses? Someone asking the real questions.
Okay, so second part, there's plenty of Guns N' Roses in this movie. there's plenty. And as far as the posterior...
Answer the question.
Answer the question, John.
I mean, look.
It is a yes or no.
I will not say this about many, but his ass rivals mine.
Wow.
And I don't want to sound like I'm handing out gold medals too loosely here.
Really? Gold medal?
But yeah, it rivals my own. It's pretty damn good.
That didn't answer any.
Pretty
I
damn
don't know
good.
what to do with that information.
Right,
Jay Master says, NFL breaking news. The Cleveland Browns have just traded quarterback Baker Mayfield to the Carolina Panthers. The Browns received 5th round pick for the 2024 NFL draft.
I told everybody he was going to the Panthers. I thought Seattle would have been a nice home for him, as a matter of fact.
I know, we talked about that.
I thought Seattle would have been a really nice home for him, but going to the Panthers, not surprised at all. The question is, how much of his guaranteed money did Carolina agree to pick up? That has been the hook on this, is he's got a guaranteed paycheck coming, whether he played or not, that Cleveland is on the hook for. How much of that guaranteed money does Carolina agree to pick up? That's what I'm interested in finding out. All right, what's next?
Alan Ling says, hey, John and crew. So I watched The Boys, and I watched The Boys some time ago. I only got to season 1, episode 3. I never got back to watching. Should I start over to refresh myself or just continue where I left off?
When I'm in that type of situation, I can only tell you what I have done. I like to start right from the beginning again. If I'm not too terribly far into it, I like to start right from the beginning again and work my way through. If, however, you start rewatching episode 1, you go, oh, yeah, now I remember all this. Well, then I think you're safe to skip ahead a bit, but I would go back and start from episode 1.
For what it's worth, too, if you're trying to jump in on 3, Amazon Prime had a really nice little refresher on YouTube that helped me a lot jump back in.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
And
just
by
like
the way,
a 15-minute, like, here's what you need to know.
It probably would be great if you're going to binge right now to go back to that first act of episode 1 of season 1 of The Boys when A-Train runs through Huey's girlfriend, because it took them a couple of years and a couple of seasons to have a really nice payoff moment with A-Train and Huey in season 3. And if you can like kind of rewatch it in a binge and kind of experience that close together, I think it's going to be really nice. All right, what's next?
I will say, currently binging that show, and it is an exhausting binge.
Yes, it is.
It's good, but damn. Stubble McShave says, I want news that Andor episodes are 60 to 80 minutes long.
Well, there's been a report that's come out that said the script right now for Andor season 1 and 2 is 1,500 pages. Wow. Now, that could simply be what it was. The actual shooting things could have been pared down. Then people, I've seen people online trying to do the math, like when you're talking about the scene with the Hangover when Zach Galifianakis see all the numbers and everything, like trying to do the math. There's, well, if 1 page of a screenplay generally equals 1 minute of this, that means it doesn't necessarily mean that here. Right. But listen, somehow Kathy Kennedy dug her heels in and said, we are not going to do 6 episodes for Andor. They're doing 12 episodes per season. And it sounds like they should be closer to the hour mark or more, but we'll see how it all works out. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves just based on a page count. All right, what's next?
Casey Mack says, I know it's not announced yet, but what are your thoughts on Thunderbolts?
Is it not? I thought it was officially announced.
They've talked about it. I don't know if it's official.
Yeah, honestly, I have no thoughts on it. It would really depend on how they pull it together. Let's just say
and who's going to be part of that team?
Yeah, I mean, we already know a couple of people who will be, but I'm like
Mephisto.
Mephisto.
Yeah, he's leading that team.
I'm just like, you know what? File it under. I'm interested, but until I have a clearer picture.
And I feel like that would come. There's things that have to be set up before we can see the Thunderbolts.
Here's the other thing. And did they say it was going to be a movie or a series?
I think a series.
Okay. I am losing my enthusiasm for Marvel series. I'm losing it, despite the fact that I am loving Ms. Marvel. And so, okay, a Thunderbolt series. Okay. Are you going to do it as badly as you did Hawkeye? Are you going to do it as okay as you did Loki? Or like I'm losing my enthusiasm for their Disney Plus series. I really need a couple of wins in a row here from them. So, all right, what's next?
Jeff Yerke says,
hello.
Hi, guys and ladies. Guess lady. Buzzword Wednesday. On our minds, Blade, For All Mankind, She-Hulk, and yes, The Wire again. Mrs. Yerke sends her love to Rob.
Oh, well, it's always good to hear from you, Jeff. And you say a big hello right back to your wife.
By the way, for people who are always writing in and saying things like, hey, I'm through this. What should I be binging next? Blah, blah, blah. If you have not seen The Wire, there are a lot of TV files. What do you call them? Cinephiles.
Cinephiles, TV file. What would you call it?
Telephiles.
Telephiles. I like that. Telephiles.
There's a lot of telephiles out there who will tell you that The Wire is the greatest TV show of all time. I don't concur, but it's great. But a lot of hardcore TV fans will point at The Wire and say that's the godfather of television. I don't know. What do you think?
I love that show. I think I'll tell you something though. I loved all 5 seasons, but I started watching it with Elizabeth, and it is an acquired taste because it's pretty dense, and the first season is so specific. It takes place in a very specific milieu, the Baltimore drug underworld, and if it's something that isn't immediately appealing to you from a storytelling standpoint, I can see how it would be off-putting in its specificity.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm one of those people that I was not watching The Wire when it was on. I had seen Game of Thrones. If you have seen Game of Thrones and then you go back and watch The Wire, you're going to go, oh, that's where the Game of Thrones got all their stuff from. Like you will be surprised, not only for the number of cast, but like storylines and things like that. You're going to be surprised about the similarities between The Wire and the Game of Thrones when you go back and watch it again. All right, what's next?
Collins E says 10 Deadpool, 3 9 Fantastic Four, 8 Loki 2, 7 Agatha, 6 Marvels, 5 Ant-Man 3, 4 Blade, 3 Thunderbolts, 2 Guardians of the Galaxy, 1 Cap 4.
Yeah, Cap 4 is not one we had on this because there's been nothing official said about that. There's been some whispers and some talks. I will certainly be intrigued with a Sam Wilson Captain America movie.
Me too.
I will be intrigued by that. But again, it's not an official thing, so that's why we didn't include it in there at all. All right, what's next?
Ismail Montoya says, hey guys, just wanted to recommend the Amazon show The Terminal List with Chris Pratt. It's really good. Ray probably likes anything named The Terminal.
There you go, Ray. He's good. Tom Hanks is in it.
No, when they say list after, I get so sad.
They just leave it at The Terminal. Look, we were having our 4th of July thing. One of my buddies said, hey, have you started watching Terminal List yet? I didn't even know they started airing it.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea. So I'm hearing good things so far.
I am too.
Yeah, I haven't watched it.
Yeah, so I'm going to jump on and start watching it.
It's just because it's a series. I mean, like, there's so much series going on, but at least it's there. So if you need something to watch, then you can always go back to it.
All right, what's next?
Gus's gas station movie reviews .fart says, you getting that new Rodecaster Pro 2?
No, listen, they definitely made some improvements on it. They did, but I really evaluate it. It's like, is it so much better than the Rodecaster 1 that I should upgrade? And honestly, no. So, no, I'm not going to be getting it until I need another sound mixer, or if I need another sound mixer for another studio or another office or whatever, then I will look at it. But I'm not looking to upgrade because I think it's just not that big of an upgrade from the first one.
Or I don't know if they pull it from the shelves, but if it drops the price of the one, then maybe it's a Studio B purchase down the line if it drops the price of it.
Well, but to your point, then we'd just be buying another Rodecaster 1, right? Instead of 2. Yeah, right?
I had a question. Was this just announced, this Rodecaster thing?
No, it came out about 2 months ago.
Oh, okay, because I was about to say, is there like some place where they make these announcements for these sorts of, whatever we're talking about, whatever this device is we're talking about?
Oh, yeah. I mean, tons of YouTube channels that I follow will do that stuff. The Verge, Engadget are also ones that you could follow and things like that. Yeah. All right, what's next?
My Comic Planet says, hey, Amy, just wanted to say you've been killing it on the show. Love your insights and great job. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, My Comic Planet. All right, what's next?
No, let's just focus on that one for a while.
Let's just simmer
that. Little good vibe.
Let it sizzle. Let it sizzle.
Let's just soak in that for a bit.
I said my mom was like, how'd it go? And I was like, well, no one paid $5 to like call me a dumb bitch. So I feel like okay was my vibe yesterday.
Is that a normal Tuesday for you?
People just paying. I do say if you have an insult, you have to Venmo me $5, and then I will hear it.
All right, what's next?
Santos Henderson said, I feel like my anticipation has been killed by the mediocre results of the Marvel TV show so far. The structure just doesn't work, or they just don't know how to do 6-episode stories.
Here's the problem. When you hitch your wagon and the wagon starts to sink, it drags everything else down too. And you're right. The mediocrity, and there have been some highlights. WandaVision is beyond brilliant. I've loved Ms. Marvel so far, but the general mediocrity of Marvel's television stuff is fairly or unfairly starting to affect my overall feel about the MCU as a whole, because it is all the same MCU. And it doesn't help that you're putting out okay movies like Black Widow or things like that's not helping either. So yeah, I think it's hurting the overall brand. I really do.
You know, you talked about British shows and earlier. If you go back and you watch like just Bodyguard, that's a 6-episode show that is breathless. It's an incredible show. And I think back to one of, I think, the finest 5 hours of science fiction TV, which seems strange to say, but Torchwood, Children of Earth, the 5-episode series. And if you look at those two shows, it's the structure. It's how do you tell that story? And both of those shows have similar, and British shows can kill it. Well, they really have understood how, because they've been doing it for decades, how to tell stories in that format. And I think that because both Star Wars and the MCU could really benefit from taking a look at that British structure.
I feel like there's a degree too where some of the Marvel shows are suffering because the MCU is so big now. So everything has to tie in and be a part of the multiverse. And it's one thing I was even thinking with Ms. Marvel of like, no, I really just want like kind of a smaller story about a teen girl in Jersey, and she has her like little villain, and she has to have her personal journey and fight the villain, and like that is that. And I think that could have worked in 6 episodes.
And it has been working from that, but I do anticipate, and it narratively makes sense because where they're going with the Marvels. I do anticipate we're going to see Carol Danvers show up in the final episode because narratively that's a part of the transformation of even the identity of her character, right? So it's not just a cameo for the sake of a cameo. It would actually be important. But we'll see. I was 100% sure that Carol Danvers would show up. I'm not 100% sure anymore. So I don't know. We'll see. All right, what's next?
J Master says, Ms. Marvel is the lead up to the Marvels, Captain Marvel 2 coming next year. I definitely believe the finale is going to be epic, and hopefully Captain Marvel shows up in a post-credit scene. There you go.
Yeah, again, because you can't understand the character of Ms. Marvel unless you understand her connection and her affinity to Captain Marvel and Carol Danvers, right? So absolutely, again, I have my doubts about how great they're going to be able to make this finale because there is simply too much that needs to be done to bring what this story has been up till now to a satisfying conclusion in just one episode.
And also, to me, John, like Carol Danvers is a cosmic character.
Yeah.
It's not like she's hanging around to just show up with
That's
some
true,
kid,
right?
some edge kid, who every kid
Just
that
at some mall in Jersey, like, what's that?
Yeah, maybe there's some connection to the power, and if they can connect all of this stuff, but I just can't see Carol Danvers like, oh, hey, I know you're a fan of mine. I came back from, I was on Xandar trying to clean up the mess there, but I figured I'd come say hello. Like, what the hell is she doing on Earth? I mean, I'm sure they'll explain it.
Right, but it would have to be explained very quickly.
Yeah.
Yes.
We got 30 minutes, Carol. Wrap it up.
I feel like that kind of stuff can be explained in the first 20 minutes of a tentpole movie. I like the idea of doing these solo, stories that are smaller, and in the first 20 minutes of a tentpole movie where they're supposed to appear, that's where you explain where the connection comes from.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll go further. I'll see in the first 10 minutes of a tentpole movie you can do that.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Mickey Bell says, hey, crew, it's my birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
This is another cake question. Thank you so much for that. I was going to be so happy. Thank you so much for the countless hours of content over the years. I watched one of my favorites today, Stargate. Thoughts on the movie? Thanks.
The original Stargate with Ultron. What's the actor's name again? James
And
Spader.
Kurt Russell. Snake Plissken and Ultron in a movie.
Let's put it this way. I didn't love it the first time I saw it, but it was such a great concept. But incorporating the idea of Egyptian deities in with the history and the universality of it, such a great concept. Frankly, I thought the show was better than the movie, but because they were able to expand and all that kind of stuff. But I still enjoyed that original movie. What about you?
I did too. I love the original Stargate. It has a great score. It's a lot of fun.
I was going to say, I love the score.
The score is fantastic. It's a little simplistic, but it's beautifully made. And I think to me it's a more expensive B movie.
Yes.
But it's good.
All right, what's next?
Mike Scott says, I nominate Kevin Feige to fix the LA Lakers.
Even Feige couldn't do it. the contracts they are baggaged with, like one of the most disappointing players in the league is their number one. This is the thing. LeBron James is not the top paid player in the Lakers. By a mile. Westbrook is, and his best days are far behind him. I mean, and they're saddled with that contract, man, even though thankfully it's only one more year, but still, I don't even think Feige could fix them right now. All right, what's next?
Jake Clark says, hope T'Challa appears in post-credit scene fake die.
Listen, we're not going to launch into the whole thing again, but I've been very, very clear about this. The character of T'Challa was just too important of a character. Just too important of a character. When Harris died, they didn't write out Dumbledore out of Harry Potter. They didn't write the character out. They understood that the character was too vital to the narrative. The character was too vital to this world. T'Challa was an important character. Not just cinematically, culturally.
Yeah.
And and listen, I'll never be mad about it because I understand their motive for writing out T'Challa was because to them, that was their way of being respectful to Chadwick Boseman. But it's not how you are respectful to Chadwick Boseman. You respect Chadwick Boseman by carrying on the legacy, by passing the baton, by picking it up and running with it because he can't anymore. It's what they should have done with Leia, and we found out that that's true for 100% sure. That was absolutely true. They should have done that with Leia. They should have had another actress come in and pick up that baton for Carrie Fisher to carry it across the finish line for her. And instead, they've written out this culturally, cinematically character who just got started and wrote them out. And I think that was a mistake. Now, again, I trust Ryan Coogler and I trust Kevin Feige, and I wholeheartedly believe they are going to make a very good movie. I still believe it was a mistake not to carry on with the character of T'Challa, though. I really do. Anyway, that's just me. All right, what's next?
Alan Ling says, also, John, the Duffer Brothers are on Masterclass.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
see that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, I'd watch that.
I was literally just going through Masterclass like over the weekend. I did not see. I'm going to have to go in and check that out. Thank you for letting me know about that, man. Yeah, it's probably brand new. All right, what's next?
My Comic Planet says, hey, Rob, Star Trek The Motion Picture Director's Edition hits 4K Blu-ray along with a 6-film set, but I'm guessing you already knew that?
I got my email from Paramount about that yesterday, as a matter of fact.
For those of you who, that's true, but there's also an incredible Xavier Star Trek The Motion Picture set with swag and multiple discs. Oh, it's
almost with this. Talk to me now.
So that was released today, or the pre-order.
Talk to me, baby, with those multiple discs.
All right, what's next?
Bobby Jackson says, based on what we know, Ms. Marvel's powers are internal. So does that mean she's technically a mutant?
Well, no, she's a djinn.
Right.
She's a clandestine. She's a djinn. So but again, there was something that happened in this thing that, while not looking identical, because it didn't look identical, but it looked kind of similar to Terra Genesis. And so I don't know. We'll talk more about that on the open spoiler discussion. All right, what's next?
Samus Knight says, Joss Whedon writes and the Russos direct X-Men.
Look, everybody knows that for a very, very long time, I've been a big Joss Whedon fan. Huge Joss Whedon fan. The first Avengers movie, I still to this day believe is the best comic book movie ever made. What he did with Age of Ultron, I appreciate more and more all the time. Serenity is one of my favorite sci-fi films. Firefly was great. I never really watched Buffy. I mean, I watched Buffy a bit. I personally thought Angel was better than Buffy, but whatever. I am a big Joss Whedon guy. But as a big Joss Whedon guy, I have been very disappointed to hear about a lot of stuff. Like even Sarah Michelle Gellar, who never says anything. Even Sarah Michelle starts saying some things. I don't believe you're going to see Joss doing real work, real big high profile work again. At least not for a while.
And so, what project was this for?
They were talking about X-Men.
And I even
liked he's written X-Men.
I liked his X-Men comic.
His X-Men writing is good. Look, creatively, he's fantastic.
Didn't we pick that already? Didn't we say Spielberg should direct the X-Men? Or was that Fantastic
Well, Spielberg
Four?
should direct anything. He's the greatest filmmaker of all
Joss
time.
Whedon is a cautionary tale for all of you nerds who end up in a position of power. Remember, how you wield it is important.
Yep, it's kind of like Nate on Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
Don't be a Nate.
Don't be a Nate. All right, what's next?
We have a super chat coming in from Ryan Ramirez. Thank you, Ryan. And anything else?
Is that it? Do we have any other from the members?
Yeah. I do got one from Jay Bling. He says, Rob already answered this, but do you, John, think the story for Deadpool 3 will significantly
we already answered that.
Multiverse? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, well, one last one from our premium member, Tim Platt. He says, thank you, Amy, for letting me know I wasn't the only one who felt that way about The Boys. I was binging it from season 2 up to season 3, episode 4, and had to stop for a couple of weeks because it was too much.
It's a great show, but my God, I watched like 3 episodes in a row last night, and I kind of just turned it off. Like, I need anything else. Like, it does give you just a lot of like, stop. And I can handle gore, I can handle shock value, but Oof, they hit it hard.
All right, guys, and that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here, making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you so much for your support. Once again, don't forget to join us for our Ms. Marvel open spoiler discussion later today at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And don't forget to come back and join us again for the John Campea Show tomorrow. So, for everybody in the room, Robert Meyer Burnett, Amy Newman, Ray Ora, producer Jonathan Voico, my name's John Campea.